Did she file an eviction notice against you?
Yes, ma'am.
She was fussing, yelling, and cussing and threatening to beat me up.
She still has property there.
Oh, yes.
No, ma'am.
She left a dog.
You took a dog with you?
Yes.
She had 2 dogs. Those dogs had puppies, and she ran a little farm out of my house.
This is Judy Justice. Keila Bell is suing her former landlord, Janita Akins, for filing false evictions, slander, and harassment.
All rise.
Have a seat, please.
Hello, Judge. Case 3076, Bell versus Akins.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Miss Bell, Miss Akins was your landlord for a period of time.
Yes, ma'am.
Were there 2 separate houses? She lived in one, you lived in the other?
Yes, ma'am.
But you were next door neighbors.
Right next door.
So you have a rental home.
Yes, ma'am.
How large a home is it?
It's a 2-bedroom.
Who lived there with you?
Me, my daughter, and my 21-year-old son.
You have dogs.
I have 2.
When did you first lease the house from Miss Akins?
I leased from Miss Akins September 29th of 2022.
And what was the rent you were paying?
$87.
A month.
Yes, ma'am.
So that means you were receiving Section 8 housing, they were paying the rest.
Yes, ma'am.
And how much rent were you receiving?
A total of $750.
What does your son do?
My son works at a Steak and Shake restaurant in our hometown.
And your daughter?
She works also.
At what?
Clothing store.
And you?
Steak and Shake also.
So you have 3 full-time employed people living in your house.
Yes, ma'am.
How do you qualify for Section 8 housing?
Well, everybody at the same time just started working at the home. I no longer receive Section 8 at this time.
Well, I know that you don't, because you say that you don't, and that's part of your complaint against her, that because of the fact that she filed all these eviction notices against you, you lost your Section 8 housing. That's what you say in your complaint.
I let it go.
Well, I just want to know how you were getting it in the first place.
Yeah, I didn't have employment when I started receiving it.
So it wasn't because of her that you lost your Section 8 housing. It was because there were 3 employed adults.
No,
So it wasn't because of her.
it was because of her.
Impossible. That's impossible.
Okay.
All 3 of you were working when you lost your Section 8 housing.
Yeah.
Then with 3 adults working, the government shouldn't be paying $750 or $700 for your rent, and you were only paying $87.
Well, it ended up changing from $750. Well, from my $87, I ended up paying $350. When my income went up, I ended up paying the $350 in rent to Miss Akins.
How long did you live there?
A year.
So I'm crossing out the part of your complaint that alleges that because of her conduct, you lost your Section 8 housing. You lost your Section 8 housing because you didn't qualify for it.
No, I still had it.
What I'm saying to you as a taxpayer, you shouldn't have had it. 3 adult people working in your household, and the rent is relatively minimal. $750 is a relatively minimal rent. It means that each of you were paying $200, about $200 a month rent. I'm certain that even with minimum wage jobs, that's a reasonable rent. Okay, so she filed several eviction notices against you. Mm-hmm. When, for the first time, did she file an eviction notice against you? And can I see the papers, please?
I found drugs in the kitchen.
No. You're not answering my question. My question was, when did she first file an eviction notice against you? Mm-hmm. That requires a date when she filed an eviction notice against you.
11/1. I have a few of them, Your Honor.
No, when was the first time? Just answer my question. When was the first time she filed an eviction notice against you?
October the 15th, I believe it was.
Okay. October of what year?
2022.
May I see it, please? The basis for it. Did you say October of 22 or September of 22?
October.
October. So a month after you moved in.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
It was filed the 26th of October.
Okay.
21st, I'm sorry.
Okay. The hearing date was November 16th. This is what you allege. Illegal drugs in unit. Mm-hmm. Tell me about that.
Miss Bell had called me saying that she had found fentanyl in the cabinets. This was done over a text message. She over text, between texting and calling. And she said that there was fentanyl in a sandwich bag. I have a picture of it. It's only in black and white, but
Okay, so she called you and said she found drugs in the house.
yes, ma'am.
Okay,
And
go ahead.
I didn't believe her because the house had been empty for 4 months before she moved in it. And it had been cleaned several times.
Miss Bell, let me tell you this. It doesn't make sense for her to call you and tell you that she found this bag of drugs in the house if they were hers. Do you understand?
Oh, yes, ma'am.
So I don't understand, as one of the causes to evict her, you say illegal drugs in unit.
That wasn't the first cause for trouble between her and I. The first was, and it was coupled together within maybe a 2 or 3 week span. So she was smoking in the unit. I had called her within 3 weeks of her moving into the unit. I had called the police on her twice already.
For what?
For threatening me, cussing me out, coming into the unit. I believe that she was coming up with reasons to try to get money out of me.
No.
Okay.
Well, when was the first time you had trouble with her?
It was October the 14th
Okay.
that I called the police on her.
For what?
I called the police on her because she was fussing, yelling, and cussing and threatening to beat me up.
Keila Bell claims her former landlord, Janita Akins, filed false evictions and harassed her. Janita is countersuing Keila for a water heater and property damage.
Do you remember what that dispute was about, Miss Bell?
The drugs in the kitchen cabinet.
That was about the drugs. Well, explain it to me.
When I called Miss Akins and explained to her about drugs being in my kitchen cabinet, I was convicted over 15 years ago for drugs. It was the way I chose, to support me and my children. I made a vow that when I got taken away from my children, I would never do it again. So I haven't touched drugs. When I called Miss Akins and explained to her the situation, I felt like I was taken advantage of.
Do you think she knew that there were drugs in your house?
Honestly, I do.
Well, what would make you think that? Did she know about your history?
She does.
Did you tell her?
She's a friend of my aunt.
This is a problem, Miss Akins, this first eviction notice. I don't know what antisocial behavior is, breaking the lease. What is that? Because illegal drugs, I don't believe, were hers. The house may have been vacant for 4 months, but it's also possible that somebody else got in there. There is no question in my mind that she would not call you and tell you that she found drugs in the house.
Your Honor, can I just say that the house was a Section 8 house. The house had been inspected several times.
I don't care. I don't
by
care.
the inspector?
I don't care. I don't know what the inspector did, whether he opened up cabinets or whatever. It just doesn't make sense for the plaintiff to call you and tell you that she found drugs in the house, especially since she didn't want to move then. She didn't want to move out of the house. So why would she call you and say there were drugs in the house? I mean, I can understand if she called and said, listen, there are drugs in the house and I don't like what's going on here, so I want to move. But it doesn't make sense for her to call you.
She didn't say she wanted to move.
No, I said to you, it doesn't make sense for her to call you. Okay, so illegal drugs, forget it. Disturbing the peace, that's when you got into an altercation with her about the drugs in the house, and
Yes.
I can see she's emotional about that. Antisocial behavior is a very large thing, so any judge would have thrown out this complaint, which I assume that they did because it was nonsense.
Yes.
Okay, so we have one nonsense eviction notice. When was the next eviction notice?
The next one was 11-1.
When was the next eviction notice you filed against her, Miss Akins?
I filed that personally. I hadn't had a lawyer at an attorney
I don't care
at the time.
whether you had a lawyer.
So the
It's nonsense. and
Right.
it was-
So I do believe the next one was in November.
Okay.
I do believe the next one was in November because I had filed that one incorrectly.
Okay, may I see it, please? Thank you. Okay, so this one says non-payment. Did you pay your rent in December?
Yes, ma'am.
What non-payment did you sue her for?
Keila was constantly late with the.
She only lived there for 2 months at the time.
Right. So
She lived there October, November, and this was filed December 6th. So what non-payment?
she was late with that month's rent.
Just a
that I filed
second.
Not payment.
This was filed December 6th.
December 6th. Right. Rent is due on the 1st.
Okay. Did you get paid from Section 8?
Yeah, I do believe.
Just a second. So you got paid from Section 8, and at that time, Section 8 was paying the vast majority of it, she
Yes,
was
ma'am.
only paying $87. So there had to be another reason that you were moving to evict her, other than this minuscule payment, and it was only the 6th of the month.
It was also about her pit bulls, right? I had asked her when we set up the lease, and I met with her, before she moved in, she told me she had a dog, and I accepted Keela. The only way that I accepted Keela was that if she had a kennel put in the backyard for her 2 pit bulls. I have a grandson.
Was it in the lease?
Yes, ma'am.
May I see the lease? Kevin, would you show this to Miss Bell, please, and ask her if that's her signature and that's the lease?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so when you moved in, you knew you had to have a kennel for your 2 pit bulls.
Yes, ma'am.
When did you put it in?
That week?
The week that you moved in?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
No, Your Honor. That didn't happen. She didn't move a kennel into the backyard until April of this year.
Your Honor, I've got a video.
I'd like to take a look
That's
at it.
from April of this year.
Miss Bell, just make sure that what you're showing me is 2 weeks after you moved in. Do you understand?
Okay.
Don't show it to me. Don't show it to me unless the kennel was put in within 2 weeks of your moving in.
Okay, this doesn't have a date, but this is her son attacking me when the kennel was being put in the backyard.
In April,
Just a second. Month and year.
Okay.
Listen to me carefully, Miss Bell.
Okay.
Let's not play with each other. Was the kennel put in April of 2023?
No, ma'am. The kennel was
When
put
was-
in October when I moved in.
Okay. And did you purchase the kennel? Did you purchase the kennel?
No, I did, but I bought it from a friend.
Miss Bell, you know we're in trouble here.
I don't have a receipt for it.
This last one was filed in December of 2022, and it alleges violation of the lease. Was the violation of the lease in 2022 that you're referring to the lack of a kennel in the house for the 2 pit bulls?
yes, ma'am, that's part of it.
Well, the other one is utilities shut off. What does that mean?
So her utilities had gotten shut off. When the gas company came back out to restore service, it done something to my hot water tank, to the hot water tank. She or someone with her lit a self-igniting hot water tank, right, that destroyed the hot water tank in the property. So I then had to shell out
I got a red tag.
almost $900 to replace the hot water tank.
So far, I don't believe that you put in a kennel when you moved in, so she's allowed to file this eviction notice. When was the next one? I want you to understand that I believe
Yes, ma'am.
that you didn't put in a kennel for the dogs
I hear you.
until April of 2023. You hear me?
Keela Bell is accusing her former landlord, Janita Akins, of harassment and filing multiple false evictions. Janita is countersuing Keela for a water heater and property damage.
I want you to understand that I believe
Yes, ma'am.
that you didn't put in a kennel for the dogs
I hear you.
until April of 2023. You hear me?
Yeah.
Okie dokie. Okay. When was the next one?
The next is so many, Your Honor.
Oh, that's okay. I'm telling you, you were still there and you didn't put in a kennel until April of 2023. You were in violation of your lease for a very long time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
You
what
were in
it said.
violation of your lease for a very long time. Because I wouldn't like to live next door to you with 2 pit bulls roaming around the backyard.
Right.
Anything else?
Not with the eviction.
Great. So your next cause of action is slander, defamation of character. Tell me what that was.
She made a few Facebook posts using my name,
In what way?
saying how much I owed in rent, saying that I was unable to pay it. And then there's another one where she said that I tore her house up.
That's what she's counterclaiming for.
Yeah.
So far, none of that is slanderous. Yeah, she lets her animals tear up the property. Miss Bell,
Yes, ma'am.
she says back here in August of this year She lies about it, but fails to inform the magistrate landlord she lets her animals tear up the property. But does she want repairs done? No. Why, you say? She engineers lies on Facebook to justify her actions and not giving me access to the property so it can look like I'm not doing the repairs.
What she put on Facebook.
Yeah, I know it's what you put on Facebook. Your case is dismissed. All right, so we're finished with you. Money owed for defamation, property damage. How did she damage your property? That's all I'm interested in.
She lit the self-igniting hot water tank.
Okay, what else?
I had the attorney's fees from her.
What attorney's fees?
The attorney's fees about this case. They were $875.
For what?
For
what case are you talking about?
I'm talking about the small claims court case. And we also talked about tenants issues. We talked about, what I would be liable for. She filed an answer.
All right, very, very nice. It's all very, very nice. You're living someplace else now?
Yes, ma'am.
You have another tenant in the house?
No, ma'am. She hasn't released tenancy from the property, which is why I have to keep putting notices on the door. So I can stay legal.
Stop for a second. What do you mean she hasn't released?
She hasn't given me the keys back to the property. She hasn't told me that she was moving from the property. My attorney called and, made contact to ask and had me ask her, and she hasn't moved anything.
You mean she still has property there?
Oh, yes, ma'am. She still has property there.
What does she have?
She has a bed, a dresser.
Just a second. Do you still have any property that you want in the house?
No, ma'am.
You don't?
No.
When you moved out, did you leave things of yours there?
No.
What about a bed?
No.
A dog?
What?
She left the dog there for 10 days with no heat and said that I exposed the dog to 20-degree weather on Facebook. She said that.
Did you leave a dog there?
No, ma'am.
You took a dog with you?
Yes.
Okay, you have any proof?
I have both.
Did she have 3 dogs?
I have 2.
No, did she have 3?
She actually had 9. She had 2 dogs. Those dogs had puppies, and she ran a little farm out of my house.
Listen to me. You both submitted yourself to my jurisdiction.
Yes.
Say nothing. She has now gone from the house. I find that she is acknowledged that she is no longer a tenant of yours.
Cool.
Anything in the house that you do not want to keep that you think was hers, you can dispose of. Sell it, throw it away, change the locks on the door, the tumbler. If she didn't give you the keys back, change the tumbler. I will prepare that order, and I will sign it, and you agree with it, correct?
Ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
She's going to dispose of any property that's there. She's going to change the tumbler this week, because he should do that anyway.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
She don't own the house.
I don't care who owns the house. She was your landlord. That's what she says. So if she wants to do that, she can do that. But you have nothing there that you claim is yours anymore, and you are no longer a tenant in that house.
Correct.
So whoever owns the house can get rid of whatever they want, can change the locks on the doors. Do you understand?
Oh, yes, ma'am.
Perfect. We're finished. We'll prepare the order for you. Thank you. Bye.
This court is adjourned.
Overall, I think it was fair.
I like Judge Judy. I think that she is fair, which is why I agreed to come.
It was ongoing harassment, the everyday coming home with a paper posted to the door.
I got a 24-hour notice that I put on the door so I could go in and check the heat, and discovered that she had left the dog there after she had moved, after she had transferred her utilities.
The only dog that was in the house was her.
She left the dog there 10 days.
My daughter was burned by a stove that was on the property, 3rd-degree burns.
I'm sorry your daughter got hurt, if she got hurt. I wasn't there. I think stoves are usually user-friendly.
She said that she's not on the lease, so she wasn't going to replace it.
The stove was her responsibility.
I will never rent from her again, and hopefully anybody that sees it runs.
I am so elated that she's gone.
I'm just in a better place.
What I would say is, America, don't do drugs.
So I have to tell you one of my pet peeves as both somebody on the bench, but more than that, just a citizen. There is a swath of people who are Americans who live in this country that need assistance, who work, some can't work, but who work and can't quite make it. I can't tell you how it bothers me when somebody has 3 employed adults in their house and applies for and accepted for government-assisted housing. She knew she wasn't entitled to it, You know, you could tell from her look that she knew she wasn't entitled to it. And it's just too bad that the government is so inept that it can't ferret out those people who need and those people who want. Well, there's a big difference. Need and want are two different things. It just constantly surprises me the inefficiency of government. And really the way some people will spend more time scheming to get what they're not entitled to than they will spend moving their lives forward in a positive direction.
It is a very tricky system. You know, I've dabbled in just seeing what the process would be like of applying for any sort of government assistance and just to try and understand litigants a bit better who have gone through it. And it's complicated. It's nuanced and complicated and online, and there are multiple forms, and this one has to go before this one. I feel like if you're able to complete that, you have a skill that could be used in a productive way to make it so that you don't need to figure out that whole...
They made a complaint to the police that you had threatened them with a gun.
Correct.
And you didn't see a firearm.
He was telling me to get off of his property, screaming accusations. I turned and ran.
He didn't have a firearm.
Everything they've said is lies.
You consciously lied to the police, and it could have been tragic.
This is Judy Justice. Donald Sullivan is suing his tenants, William Callahan and Aaron Crowcroft, for loss of income, a false restraining order, and filing a false police report.
Court come to order. All rise.
Have a seat, please.
Hello, Judge. Case 3109, Sullivan versus Callahan, Crowcroft.
Mr. Callahan, how long have you been a tenant of the plaintiffs?
I've personally been a tenant for 3 years. Aaron here has been a tenant for 11.
And you live together?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Anybody else live in the house?
My partner.
Okay. And how long has your partner been in the house?
Me and him have been in the house 12 years. We're the original tenants.
And are you a tenant of his?
Yes, Your Honor.
What do you pay in rent?
We pay $1,000 a month in rent.
You pay to Mr. Crowcroft.
No, I'm paying for the entirety of the rent myself
Why is that?
because he's
I'm
mentally
disabled.
and doesn't have a source of income right now, so I am his caretaker primarily.
Okay, let's start again. You've been living in the house for 11 years.
11 or 12, yeah. We moved in January 1st, 2012. That's our official move-in date.
And you have a partner,
Yes, I do.
male or female?
Male.
Does that partner work?
Yes, he does.
What kind of work?
Retail.
Sales?
Yes, retail sales like Walmart.
And what is the nature of your disability?
I'm severely bipolar with Asperger's syndrome and ADHD.
Did you ever work?
I've worked on and off, but I've never been able to maintain work. I've tried. I've never been able to.
Get Social Security?
Not yet, but I'm applying for it as we speak.
How old are you?
I'm 38.
How have you been supporting yourself?
My parents, and then he came into my life.
How did he come into your life?
We've known each other online for a very long time.
Does he get along with your partner?
Yes, very, very much so.
What kind of work do you do?
I'm a truck driver.
You work for a company?
Yes, I work for a company.
Long haul?
I do a lot of the local, regional stuff, so all within the state of Wisconsin.
Okay. You don't go on trips longer than a day or two?
No, I'm usually home every night.
And how much do you earn at that job?
About $2,200 a week.
And what do you get paid for? And by whom? As a caretaker?
I don't get paid by anyone. I'm just helping him out, so I'm not officially his caretaker or anything, but as a friend, I'm just helping take care of him.
I got it. So you're not a caretaker of his. I misunderstood. Did you apply to be a caretaker?
No, ma'am.
No, because you're gone all day.
Yes, sir.
So Mr. Crowcroft is alone all day.
Yes, sir.
And his partner is in sales, so he's not there during the day.
Yes, sir.
And you pay the entire rent.
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Sullivan, this is your claim. Your claim is that an incident occurred and the defendants alleged to the police that you had a gun and you were at home at the time. Police came to the house. There was a scene. They advised you probably by bullhorn to come out of the house with your hands up. Is that right?
Correct.
You did. You had no gun, but you were in fact taken into custody for that brief period of time. You allege falsely based on a false complaint of theirs to the police. The defendants acknowledge that they made a complaint to the police, but say that the police misunderstood them, that you had threatened them with a gun. That's your defense?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes.
When did this incident occur?
It was November 6th after midnight, so November 7th until about 3 a.m.
What year?
Of
23.
Yeah, 2023.
Okay. Tell me first, who called the police?
I was the one who called the police that night.
All right, Mr. Callahan. Tell me what happened that night that caused you to call the police.
Originally, I had went to talk with his son because I had received a call from anonymous number.
From Mr. Sullivan's son?
No, not from Mr. Sullivan's son, but...
No, you went to talk to Mr. Sullivan's son.
Correct.
Is that his son?
No, we're talking about Donald John Sullivan.
Okay, so he's not here.
No, no.
So you went to talk to his son, and where does his son live?
So according to the map there, our defendant's house, our house there.
Got it. So you left your house at what time?
I want to say it was about 11:45 p.m. on the 6th of, that was November.
Okay, so that was on the 6th of November. And what caused you to leave your house at 11:45?
I had, like I said, I had received an anonymous call that someone was investigating his son for the sale and possession of marijuana.
Okay, so you received a call.
Yes, Your Honor.
From someone you don't know. Did they leave a message, or was it an actual call that you picked up?
No, completely unavailable number.
Okay, and that the plaintiff's son, who lives in the middle of where you live and the plaintiff lives.
Yes, Your Honor.
And you must be friendly with him.
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, we are. We're on good terms.
Must be if you went there and got this information. How come you didn't call him?
I have text messages to him, but unfortunately that phone was lost and destroyed, so I haven't been able to recover those yet, and I'm trying to. We're also trying to get his original police report about an assault that occurred.
Why is it that these lost phones always happen within weeks of a lawsuit? That is interesting to me.
Well, that one was actually replaced in December.
I don't care if it was replaced in December. It's just unfortunate for your proof.
Donald Sullivan claims his tenants, William Callahan and Aaron Crowcroft, filed a false police report and a false restraining order against him.
Okay, so you walked over to the plaintiff's son's house and told him you had received an anonymous call that somebody was selling marijuana out of his house.
No, that someone was purporting that he was selling marijuana out of his
Who was selling?
Donald John Sullivan.
I understand that marijuana was being sold out of his son's house.
Yes.
Okay. And then what happened?
We talked it over. After we talked it over, I returned back home. There was no issue at that point.
You didn't go over there because there was an issue. I gather you went over there because you were his friend and you wanted to alert him.
Yes, Your Honor.
And then you went home. Come on, let me hear.
And then from there, I had gone back inside and leashed up my dog and then noticed I was out of cigarettes. So I had called him and was like, hey, do you have any cigarettes?
What do you mean you called whom?
Donald John Sullivan, the
So
son.
now you telephoned him?
Yes.
After having gone over there to have a discussion about the call?
Yes.
You telephoned him, you said, I'm out of cigarettes. So now this is 12 o'clock.
Correct, Your Honor.
Go ahead.
From there, I went back over to retrieve a cigarette for myself, and this is where the incident occurred. There was
Well, tell me what happened.
After he had given me a cigarette, I went to return. Mr. Sullivan was at the corner of the house.
Show me where.
So at the corner of the house here is where Mr. Sullivan was postponed because I feel he knew the position.
No, don't tell me what you feel. I don't care what you feel. You were between your house, right at the edge of where the plaintiff's son lives, and your house. So you went there to get a regular cigarette.
Yes, Your Honor.
Yeah. And is marijuana legal in your state, by the way?
No.
No. You went there to get a cigarette at midnight, and you claim that the plaintiff came out
Yes, Your Honor.
of his house, and what happened?
I think you might have messed up the timeline there. The plaintiff didn't come out of his house. The plaintiff was already over here.
When you came to get the cigarette, the plaintiff was there already?
Yes.
Okay, so you called, and the plaintiff was already there. You said you're coming for a cigarette.
Yes, Your Honor.
Beginning to think that somebody is peeing on my leg. Go ahead.
And then...
And this is at midnight.
Yes, Your Honor.
Keep going.
Then from there, whenever I saw him He immediately saw me, started screaming accusations.
Just a second. Come and step back here now for a moment. I want you to tell me what Mr. Sullivan said to you.
He was telling me to get off of his property and get out of his house.
Okay. And what did you say to him?
I did not say anything back. I turned and ran.
Okay. And?
From there, I ran through our houses to the road there.
Now you can go back.
So I ran from here.
Yes.
Up through the middle of our house and our garage here, down the neighbor's driveway.
Why'd you just go home?
I didn't feel like I would be safe at home.
Why?
I don't own any firearms or anything to protect
He didn't
me.
have a firearm.
I know, that's where the police messed up with
Just a second. Police didn't mess up. I want to know, you're running, but you ran past your house because you said you didn't have any firearms in your house. He didn't have a firearm, and you didn't see a firearm.
No, Your Honor.
So why would you worry about having a firearm in your house? How old are you?
32.
How old is he?
74.
Yeah. You understand I'm not buying your story.
Okay.
You do understand that I'm not buying your story. Back. Do you have a copy of the police report?
Yes,
Police
I
were
do.
called. The defendant, Mr. Callahan, acknowledges that he called the police. Mr. Crowcroft, you did not call the police.
No, I wasn't awake. I wasn't awake.
You did not call the police. Well, that's what this case is all about. Did you speak to the police? No. Well, Mr. Callahan, this is very clear in this police report. Actually, couldn't be clearer. The police were dispatched. It was not a mistake, as you allege, that the police didn't mistake anything. They were dispatched over a call that said that Mr. Sullivan pointed an AR-15 type rifle at him while speaking to the plaintiff's son. That's what it said in the police report. Now, I've read your answer to this, sir, and your answer suggests that the police got it wrong.
Yes, Your Honor.
That's what the answer says. However, the police did an investigation, and I'm going to read to you what they say, sum and substance. Callahan, that would be you, admitted that he made up the incident because he feared for his roommate. I told Callahan that he was pathetic. Callahan stated he might as well blow his brains out and stated that it would do me a favor. Callahan was arrested, that would be you, for obstruction. The officers had conducted a follow-up because they were shown film footage, which evidently was from a Ring camera that the plaintiff's son has, showing the entire incident, which clearly suggested that there was no AR-15, there was no gun pointed at all. And when you were confronted with that footage, you said, all right, I made up the incident. That's what you said. This wasn't a question of the police getting the report wrong. You acknowledge you made up the incident. Okay. Mr. Sullivan, why are you suing Mr. Crowcroft?
For several things. For one, he cost me loss of income because I had a young lady that was going to rent my house for $50.
Where is she?
She couldn't get off of work.
Not interested in it.
I do have a certified statement.
I don't read certified statements,
Okay.
sir. Why are you suing him? We have the guy who made the false police report. He acknowledged it to the police that he made a false report. Why Mr. Crowcroft?
Well, because he was in on it. I mean, so far, everything they've said is lies. As far as the people that lived there, there's 4 people that were living there.
I don't care. Right now, all I have here is what you allege is a false arrest.
False arrest.
Your humiliation about that, and you are absolutely right, and you are entitled to be compensated for that.
And if you look on that police report, it was 7 days later that I found out. Other than that, I had to live with the fear that I was going to be arrested. I was ordered out of my house.
Just a second. I get it all, and I think that that's horrible, and he's going to pay for that. I'm trying to get to Mr. Crowcroft, why he's a defendant.
They also filed a false restraining order.
Who did?
Mr. Crowcroft and William, both.
Just a second. Forget about Callahan. He's already guilty.
Donald Sullivan has accused his tenants, William Callahan and Aaron Crowcroft, of lying to the police by claiming Donald was armed with an assault rifle.
He lied to the police. He lied to the police about a very serious situation because if things had been different, it's in the middle of the night. If you had some police officer who was nervous and you came out of the house, it could have been tragic, reporting that you had a serious weapon in the house in the middle of the night. He's already guilty. Crowcroft, did you file for a protective order?
He did for me, yes. He had my
For what?
permission to do so, for a restraining order to keep him away from me.
Well, just a second. If you filed for a restraining order, on what date did you file for a restraining order?
William?
That was the 5th.
The 5th, November 5th, 2023.
The day before this incident?
The day before the incident?
Just a second. The day before the incident. And on what basis did you file a restraining order against him?
William, what was the
What was the basis? I'm asking you.
I don't know the details. He's the one who took care of the paperwork for me because I didn't understand it.
Who signed it? You?
Yeah, I did sign it.
Just a second. I'd like to see it.
I have it here, Your Honor.
By the way, when I'm looking at this, Mr. Sullivan, you both still living in the house, correct?
Correct.
Yes.
Okay. Is there a lease now, or is
There hasn't been a lease in 11 years. We only had one for the first year.
I got it. Okay. So you're a month-to-month tenant.
Yes.
When was the last time that rent was paid?
William?
That would be, oh geez, what are we in?
We're in January.
That was January 1st, 2024.
Of this year?
Yes, Your Honor.
So they're up to date in their rent?
Yes.
Now, I don't see what the basis was for your protective order.
For the protective order, we ordered it because in the previous year...
No. I want to know him, not you. Him.
Why was it filed? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, you need facts for a protective order.
Because Donald followed me around. He was harassing me. He would not leave me alone. He kept coming over, asking questions and just being rude. I would be sitting in the garage. He'd come walking up and he'd be demanding things out of me and just... He knows I'm bipolar, and he knows that kind of interaction is very hard for me.
I think you should move, actually. I actually think that you should move.
I'd love to.
Well, you should. You're not paying any rent. You might as well not pay rent someplace else. Take them with you. If you have issues and they're exacerbated by the plaintiff, move. You've been there 12 years. You got somebody else to pay the rent. Move. Okay. Anyway, the maximum jurisdiction for this court. And I'm dismissing your case against Mr. Crowcroft. Do you understand?
Okay.
Nothing happened was a result of this protective order. What happened to you was a result of Mr. Callahan's false reporting to the police that you had a weapon, which could have resulted in a tragedy which caused you to be removed from your home, as per directed by the police. You say that neighbors came out, I'm sure when the police arrived. There was more than one police car or just one?
5.
5 police cars. At what time in the night?
12:30.
In the morning?
Yes.
Yeah, frightening. Frightening for anybody. More frightening for somebody in their 70s, and absolutely outrageous because you consciously lied to the police. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $10,000. We're finished here. Thank you.
This court is adjourned.
I'm not truly in agreement with them because the police did try to bring up charges against me, but they dropped those because they found the video was edited.
I was very happy with it.
There's a lot of information that was missed out on.
I hope it sets an example for people that make false police reports.
Mr. Sullivan's always been a very hostile person, and this is just a continuation of that.
The incident happened the day after they were served their eviction by the sheriff's department.
No, the eviction was thrown away, and his son actually took over the property and has begun remaking the repairs because his eviction was retaliatory against us for calling code enforcement because the house is just withering away and he just sits there with his hands folded and does nothing.
Well, I was ordered to come out of the house with my hands above my head.
At that time, I didn't see a firearm in his hand. What I had reported to the police was I was approached aggressively by Mr. Sullivan.
And they said it's a very serious matter. When I come out of the house, they ordered me to lift up my shirt and turn around and told me that they'd probably be coming back to arrest me.
I told them to be wary. He does own firearms, and they took that as me saying he had a firearm that night.
I was accused of pointing an AR-15 at a tenant that I'm trying to evict.
I never claimed anything about an AR-15 with the report. I just stated to the police on the phone that he had weapons.
My little sister was crying in the house because she thought my dad was going to jail. I was calling up my family, telling them that we might need to go somewhere because I thought my dad was going to jail.
Don't lie to the police, and definitely do something about your roommates being assaulted before it's too late.
I'm just happy to be alive, and I'm happy to have it over with.
Very surprising to me that after doing this investigation, which was clear from the police report that I read, and he confessed to lying to the police to get the police to the house, lying about somebody having an automatic weapon, that they didn't arrest him.
Yeah, I mean, I think he might have said they did arrest him, but then they didn't end up charging him.
Right.
But I'm surprised that they didn't follow through on charges. I mean, he's just lucky that on the way to the home, 5 police cars speeding, didn't hit anybody, hit another vehicle, get in an accident. Lucky nothing more serious happened to the plaintiff either as a result of the false reporting, because then it's not just an oopsie. Then you have a big problem on your hands because of a lie that you told police knowingly.
Yeah.
So
it is surprising to me that they didn't follow through.
Yeah, I thought
they
there was-
dispatched 5 police cars. That alone should have made the police annoyed enough to at least follow through.
Exactly. I thought that was a more serious crime, reporting falsely to the police, than they seem to have treated it as.
Yeah. You had this disagreement?
Her son was playing with the dog. He kind of sit next to me and he was playing with some slime. And I'm like, what is that? He said, Daisy busted the ball. I said, give me that ball. And it was my breast implant.
You kept your old breast implants.
Absolutely.
Why?
Why not? I mean...
This is Judy Justice. Naomi Jackson is suing her former roommate, Gianna Rodriguez, for property damage caused by Gianna's 5-year-old son.
Court come to order. All rise.
Have a seat, please.
Hello, Judge. Case 3083, Jackson versus Rodriguez.
Thank you. Miss Jackson, you have your own home?
I do.
You own the home or rent it?
I own it.
You have a mortgage?
No.
You and the defendant met, you became friends, and you invited her and her 5-year-old child, who she shares custody with the father, to live with you and share expenses.
Yeah.
When did you do that?
She was a tenant of mine, is how we met. That was 2 years ago, back in 22. And it was her boyfriend that I rented to. Okay, about
That's not that
2022.
far afield.
She wanted to move out of where she was living because school's got to start. And I said, well, why don't you come live with me? I have a 6-bedroom house. I live by myself. So I said, well, why don't you come live with me? So it's spread the moment.
When did she come to live with you?
2022, January, February?
No, it was...
Shh. In 2022, the beginning of 2022?
23, sorry.
23?
Yes. 22 when she was a tenant.
No, 23 she came to live with you.
With me, correct.
And where are you living now?
I now live with my cousin somewhere else.
Since when?
Since June.
Is that when you had this disagreement?
Yeah, when we got into the argument. And I told her
Okay.
that I was going
And
to...
this is what you got into an argument about. Now, Ms. Jackson, it is your claim that the defendant's 5-year-old, who she was not supervising adequately, got into your bedroom, and in your closet you kept your old breast implants, ones that you had removed because you got different ones.
Correct.
And you kept them for no particular reason. You weren't using them again. It's a sentimental reason that you kept the breast implants. And it is your claim that her son got into the room, got into the box where you kept them, took it and was playing with it with the dog, and they were destroyed.
Correct.
Okay, and you want her to pay for the breast implants.
Absolutely.
Why?
Because why not? I mean, they were my breast implants.
Yeah.
Those are my property.
Yeah. How much did you pay for them?
The time when I did that surgery,
yes,
I paid $3,500. But I paid
just
my surgery to get them taken out. I paid $4,000.
No, but you
the new one put in.
I'm just talking. I don't care taking them out. That has no relevance to this whatsoever. So you paid $3,500 for them. When? What year?
I did them back in 2000. So those silicone, I did back in 2012.
Okay. So now they're teenagers.
Who's teenagers? Oh.
The breast implants.
Yes. No, I had it for 7 years.
So you replaced them after 7 years. So you replaced them in 2019.
Yes, the current ones I have now, I got those taken out
just
2019.
So you replaced them in 2019.
Yes.
And you want the original cost of them.
Sure.
Okay, well, you don't get that. Now, you want to tell me this incident happened in June. Let's just be quick about it. please, because I have other things to do today. You heard some
It's not like
noise.
the value went- you said the original cost.
You heard.
It's not like the value of them went down. If anything, it's higher to get them replaced, the silicone implant.
Sound ridiculous. It was in June of this year that this incident occurred?
It happened in May.
23. Okay. And you heard some noise, and when you looked outside, when you looked in the house, you found her son playing with your dog?
I was sitting down watching TV.
And?
Behind me, her son was playing with the dog. He kind of sit next to me, and he was playing with some slime. And I'm like, what is that? I didn't want it on the couch. So I said, what is that? He said, Daisy busted the ball. I said, give me that ball, because like I said, I didn't want it all over the place, all over the couch. And it was my breast implant.
Okay. And where had they been?
They were in my closet in a medical sealed bag.
Okay. Now, did Miss Jackson tell you about what happened that day?
No, she never once, Your Honor, mentioned that she had silicones in a bag. Not to mention that they were in a closet reachable for a 5-year-old child to get to.
My closet.
Plus,
my closet.
No. And plus, my dog is there too. Not to mention, if they busted, something could have happened to him.
That's a shoulda, woulda, coulda. There isn't a question, Miss Rodriguez, in your mind that due to your 5-year-old's actions, she lost a piece of her property.
Yes.
Correct?
Correct.
Okay. So now we have to put a value on that piece of property, which is not $3,500. So you kept these breast implants, which you cannot use again because they can't be used again. You kept them for sentimental reasons.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. And they can't be replaced for sentimental reasons. Once they're gone, correct? Once they're gone, they're gone. I mean, if sentimental, you can't reuse them. You can't resell them. They are of no...
resell them. I mean, I could probably reuse them if I wanted to.
Oh, I don't think you can.
And later today, Naomi Jackson is accusing her former roommate, Gianna Rodriguez, of refusing to pay for her old breast implants after Gianna's 5-year-old son destroyed them.
Now, you can't reuse them. You can't sell them. You can't turn them back to the manufacturer.
I paid for them.
I understand that you paid for them. Let's say you had a car and the car was unusable, but you had gotten it from a parent, from an old boyfriend, from somebody, so you kept it in the garage. It couldn't be sold. It couldn't be driven. You kept it because you liked to look at it. And let's say her son, instead of your breast implants, got into the car and got bubble gum on the seat. Is he going to pay for the car? It's unusable. It's undrivable. It's incapable of being traded, negotiated for anything. It may have sentimental reason for you, but it has no extrinsic value to anybody else. So what do you think you're entitled to for losing?
It has value to everything else, but it has value to me, and it cost me money to get it. Okay. So I don't agree with just like...
Very good.
So just let it
Very
go.
good. Your son should not have destroyed her property. Do you understand?
Correct.
Whether it was negligence on your part for not watching the 5-year-old, I don't know. You don't keep an eye on a 5-year-old all the time. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $1. Thank you very much. We're done.
This court is adjourned.
$1? I paid $4,000 for my breast implants. $1?
I am happy today. I am thankful that it was in my favor for the dollar.
So I can go bust people's implants and don't have to pay for it?
I'm pretty sure it was silicone, and that's toxic. It's poisonous. So I'm just thankful that my dog and my child wasn't harmed.
I'm very upset.
Well, she was pretty upset.
$1 for my breast implants? I paid $4,000? I'm very angry.
If you left them in the closet, it's like a pair of shoes in a closet. They're just sitting there waiting to be played with.
Ridiculous.
All right.
Case number 3075, Drake versus Wayne's Corner. All parties, please step forward.
Derek Drake is suing his former girlfriend, Rosvita Waynes Kerner, for an unpaid car loan.
Mr. Drake.
Yes, ma'am.
Is your claim that the defendant owes you $1,000 for the down payment that you gave her for a car?
Yes, Your Honor.
The defendant says she owes you nothing. It was your idea because you wanted better access to her. Ms. Kerner says that you owe her the same $1,000 because you destroyed or threw away some dresses that she had purchased for your sisters and gave you the dresses to hold until you saw your sisters and you disposed of them. She wants the value or what you paid for them. Mr. Drake, I found some of the papers interesting. How do you know Miss Kerner?
Well, we used to live in the same apartment complex. About 6 months ago, she moved out of the complex.
When she lived in the complex, did you have a relationship with her?
No, we were just friends.
Okay, who did you live with, sir?
I lived by myself.
And who did Miss Kerner live with?
She lived by herself.
And then she moved away?
Yes.
And you continued to see her?
Yes.
Tell me about that.
Well, we became good friends, and when she moved away, we just carried on our friendship. She would come by and see me. I would go by and see her.
It wasn't a romantic relationship?
No.
Not romantic?
No.
Not intimate, just friends?
Just friends.
Okay. Tell me about the car loan.
Well, she came by my apartment one day, and she had an electric bike, and the bike, she said it was no good anymore. I said, well, would you like some more transportation? And she said, yes. I said, I can loan you $1,000 to buy you a vehicle if you pay me back. And she says, okay, I could take that loan. And I said, can you pay me back within 6 months because I was going to drunk driving school. I said, I'm gonna graduate from drunk driving school in 6 months, so I need the money because I need to buy me a car.
You said I can loan you $1,000. Did you go with Miss Kerner to find a car?
Yes, Your Honor.
How did you get there?
One of her friends drove us. It was at a tow yard. It wasn't in the city of San Jose. It was right outside the city.
And did you have check or cash?
I had cash.
And you acknowledged that he put down $1,000 for the car?
Put down? Well,
I didn't say loan, Miss Kerner. I said you acknowledged that he put down $1,000 for the car.
He was there. Yes.
How much? No, not he was there. he put down $1,000 for the car. Okay. And you paid a total of $1,700 for the car?
It probably totaled up after paying for the registration and stuff. Okay, because it was $1,250, and then he said that he was going to pay for the car and stuff. For the gas, because I didn't want a car. I was content with my bike. But he insists. So that's where the 7 comes in, because he wants me to pay back for the registration, the car.
How much did you pay?
Nothing.
So he paid the whole thing?
Yeah, he wanted it, yeah.
He only says he loaned you $1,000.
No. Well, if that's what he's saying, that's what he's saying, okay? But it came up to $1,250. And then the 17, it totals out, I guess, out for 17, I don't know how, but it totals out for the registration. So that's probably where it comes for $1,700.
How much did you put down on the car?
$1,000.
Well, where'd you get the other money from?
I don't know.
Well, you say in your complaint that she purchased the car, she found the car for $1,700. So I'm asking you, if you gave her $1,000, did she come up with $700?
I guess so.
Oh, my God. I'm getting very, very confused. All right. Now, Miss Kerner, Mr. Drake says that you were friends. Mm-hmm. You describe him in your answer as a Sancho.
A Sancho.
Sancho, what is that?
That's your, I guess people call it friends with benefits nowadays.
Friends with benefits?
Mm-hmm.
So are you suggesting that he had benefits?
Oh, yeah.
And is that why you used to bike ride to his house?
Yeah.
Shh. Clearly it was forgettable for him. Do you still have the car?
Oh, yes, ma'am.
What do you use it for?
For, like to go to the grocery store. I don't drive very much. So to go to the grocery store or to go and see my kids or take the dogs to the park. I don't work. So.
Now, you have a sister? You have some sisters?
I have 4 sisters, Your Honor.
Did you invite Miss Kerner to travel at some point to your sisters for a party?
Well, we went down to Atlanta, Georgia on April 28th because my sister was her retirement party. And we was also going to go to Flint, Michigan on July 21st for my sister's birthday.
Okay. Did there come a time when Miss Kerner delivered some dresses to you for your sisters?
Yes, she delivered some dresses to me so we can take to Flint, Michigan on July 31st. But I was upset with her because she never even made me one payment. So I put them in the hallway, and I guess somebody took them. I did not throw them away or destroy them.
Well, you got rid of them if you put them in the hallway, sir.
Derek Drake claims his former girlfriend, Rosevita Waynes Kerner, owes for an unpaid car loan. Rosevita is countersuing Derek for the cost of designer dresses.
Where did you get the dresses from?
I got them from my mom. They were willed to me because she had passed.
So they were used dresses?
No, they weren't used dresses. Because
But you didn't buy them?
No, but they weren't used. My mom was a shopaholic, and so she left me these wonderful dresses, but they were for taller women. His sisters were tall. I'm not going to send no junky, trashy dresses to, impress his family with, And so they're all name brand, nice dresses, really pretty. Ask him, he's seen them all.
They were beautiful.
I'm not going to send nothing tacky. And so I asked him for the dresses back when he copped his attitude. And he told me he put them out in the hall.
He copped an attitude about what?
About the car.
What about the car?
Okay, let me tell you what happened, okay? I have this fatal attraction person that's like all up in my grill. I want nothing to do with him. So he got a hold of his phone number, called him, told him I was driving all these men around town, and he copped the attitude about me driving, and which I was not because I don't like to drive. I'm 61 years old. Why am I gonna drive some dudes around town for? They're gonna drive me around town and take me to go eat. So he copped the attitude, and then I found out I'm getting paper in the mail about I'm being sued. Okay, and then I asked him 4 days later, I says, because I waited, maybe he's gonna call or something, and he didn't. And then I asked him about the dresses. And that's when he told me he put them out. I says, why you put those dresses out? Why didn't you just call me? And he just, I don't have to call you, blah, 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 blah. Well, so I just turned around and walked away.
Tell me about the car.
Okay.
He told me his version about the car.
Okay, so the car, he kept on telling me, Rose, let me buy you a car. Let me get you a car. I'm going to get you a car. I'm going to get you a car. No, I'm cool. I don't want the car. I'm happy with my bike because I don't drive.
Okay, after you bought the car, did you drive in the car to go to any vacations with his family?
No, because his family's not here. But we did drive to the airport. That's what the main thing was, just to go to the airport, get us there, and then when we get back, the car was there, so we can drive back home.
Where did you go? From what to the airport? When you went to the airport, where did you travel to?
To the airport.
And then where did you go?
To Atlanta.
From where?
From San Jose.
Who purchased the tickets?
He did.
Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
How come you bought tickets to take her anywhere? Just because she was a friend?
Because she was a very good friend.
How much is a very good friend?
Well, I wanted her to meet my sisters down in Atlanta, Georgia, because she was retiring. And I just wanted her to meet them.
Why?
Why?
Yeah, if she was just a friend, that doesn't make sense to me.
Well, she was a close friend.
How close?
Very, very close. And I just wanted her to meet my family.
Okay, she was a very close friend.
Yes, yes, Your Honor.
Got it. Okay. You see, he's more chivalrous than you are.
Oh, okay.
He's more chivalrous than you are. Anything else either one of you want to tell me? Did you get angry, by the way? You saw something that was written somewhere that she was driving with men in the car. Who told you that?
I guess one of her friends called me up and told me all this. But
Don't tell me you guess.
I got upset because she wasn't paying back the loan.
Nah, I don't think so. How much were the tickets from California to Atlanta?
They were $1,600.
That's very expensive.
Yes, it was. Yes, it is.
$1,600 for both?
Yes.
And when you got there, where did you stay?
We stayed at my sister's house in Atlanta.
The next trip that you were supposed to take, did you have to fly there for the retirement
yes,
party?
we was gonna go to Flint, Michigan on July 21st for my sister's birthday.
How were you gonna get there?
We was gonna fly.
And you were gonna buy the tickets?
Yes.
Sounds like a very good friend.
Very good, yes. But we never took that trip.
I understand. Did you drive anywhere else with Miss Kerner in the car?
No.
Did she take you to work?
No.
Did she take you anyplace else? Did you go out for dinner?
No.
She just drove back and forth to your house?
Yes, Your Honor.
And when she drove back and forth to your house, did she ever stay over?
No.
She came at what time, and what time did she leave when she would come to visit?
She would come at around 1 o'clock in the morning. She would leave about 2 or 3.
Got it.
Okay.
Okay. Mr. Drake, I know that you were probably annoyed that you heard from her friend that she was using this car that you purchased for her, and she was taking other people around in the car. So I know that was probably an annoyance for you. But that doesn't create a loan. I don't believe it was a loan, Mr. Drake. I think she's more accurate And you learn something new every day. Sancho.
Sancho.
Yeah. Okay, which I believe is probably accurate. And you have no value on these dresses. There is no...
Yes, I pulled them up online, okay? And what they look like, you know, and...
And you gave them away. You gave them to him.
Well, yeah, to his, you know, to give to his sisters, not to throw away.
You're not getting any money from him.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay.
I'm good with it.
You got a car out of it, right?
Yeah.
Thank you. Have a good day.
It's just a point, Judge, that's all.
Have a good day.
Thank you.
This court is adjourned.
I know I didn't win and she didn't win, but life goes on. You know, life is good. It's just another day.
Well, it's all good with me. I mean, hell, I got a free car out of it.
How she was driving other guys around in the car that I bought, that I paid for.
Hell no.
But I found out later on that they were just making that up.
Because he had said, when I went to go see him, he had said, you know, oh, you driving all kinds of men in the car?
I asked her and she said no, and I found out that she was telling the truth.
I'm all like, dude, why am I gonna be driving dudes around in my car?
I guess you could say that I am her Sancho.
No Sancho for me, no more. I'm good.
You know, when you asked him what time his friend came to visit him once she upgraded from the electric bike to the car, I had my pencil ready. I was ready to write, you know, after work or maybe before if she was going to take him. You know, the normal hours, 1 to 2 in the morning.
that was
But, you know, you learn something new every day.
I certainly did. I learned what a Sancho was.
Okay, yeah.
Giovanni Costello is suing his former friend, Jacob Knapp, for dental and medical bills.
Court come to order. All rise.
Have a seat, please.
Case 2110, Costello versus Knapp.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. Costello, you and Mr. Knapp were out drinking in the park.
Yes.
Date and time.
The date and time was around 3 a.m. and it was on 9/11 of 2021.
And you've known Mr. Knapp for how long?
Roughly 9 years. We started off playing high school baseball.
And when had you first met up on September 11th?
I can't remember the exact time. I would say around maybe 7 p.m.
Where?
At a bar over in Old Town Pasadena. We weren't meeting up.
Just a second.
Yeah.
So you were in a bar in Pasadena, 7 p.m. Just the two of you, or were there more people?
No.
How many were there in the whole group?
I had around 5 or 6 people in my group, and we went
All
to a
friends?
Bar. Yeah.
And you?
He wasn't a part of that group.
But you were at the bar?
No, ma'am. I was at work when he contacted me.
Okay, so so you were at the bar starting at 7 with your friends. He wasn't there.
Yeah.
Okay, what time did he join you?
It wasn't, I couldn't tell you the exact time.
Approximately.
About an hour later.
At the bar?
Yeah, but it wasn't a text or anything like that. He just happened to go to the same bar.
No, ma'am. What ended up happening from the start, I was at work. He contacted me via text. I don't
Do you have
any-
that text?
No, ma'am. I tried to erase the whole memory from my mind, so I deleted all the pictures and all the text
Oh, well,
messages
that's
from that.
unfortunate.
Yes.
That's unfortunate. I've never done that, by the way. You know, wanted to erase something from my mind, so I didn't just say I'm not going to think about it anymore. I've never done that. Did you ever do that, Sarah?
I have not.
You have not? And she's pretty efficient with text messages. Did you ever do that?
Never have I done that.
No. Well, you must be unusual, sir. Okay, so you met at the bar. What time did you get there?
Well, my shift ended at around 9 o'clock.
What time did you get to the bar?
10 o'clock.
And when you got to the bar, you met Mr. Costello.
Yes, ma'am.
He had a few friends with him. How long did you stay at the bar?
We were there till 12.
Okay, so Mr. Costello, you had been drinking from 7 until about 12.
Correct.
The answer is yes. Yes, of course. And what's your drink of choice, sir?
Beer.
What else?
The first bar that we were at doesn't serve hard alcohol, so it was just beer there.
Okay, so from 7 to when were you at the first bar?
Yeah.
From 7 to when?
7 to when? Till
To
12.
12.
Yeah.
So it's
But I
7
was
to
driving
12.
at the same time as well.
Okay, so from 7 to 12, you were drinking beer.
Yeah.
And then where did you go at 12 o'clock?
After 12 o'clock, we ended up going to another bar in Arcadia.
Okay, and you stayed there from when to when?
From 12 to closing, which is 2 a.m.
And you were part of that group?
Yes, that's when I initially met the group.
At the second bar or
At the
first?
second bar, yes.
Not at the first bar?
No, ma'am.
Okay, so you got to the second bar, you were there about
You said you were there at 10 o'clock.
Yes.
So they weren't there when you arrived.
They were there when I arrived, yes.
Well, he said that, I thought he said he got to the second bar at 12 o'clock.
I arrived at the bar at around 10 o'clock, ma'am.
And you got there at 12 o'clock.
Yeah.
Yeah. So by the time you all got together and left the bar, you had all been drinking, you for a very long time and you for a shorter time.
Yes, ma'am.
So from 10 to 2, so 4 hours. And what's your drink of choice?
10 to 12, Your Honor. I apologize. 10 to 12.
Where did you go at 12 o'clock?
12 o'clock is when we had all decided to go to a park, kind of a low-key area.
No, he said that he went to a bar between 7 and 12. Am I correct, Whitney? Did he say? 12. He said you were at the bar, first bar, between 7 and 12, drinking beer. That's what you said.
Correct.
You said the first bar only served beer. Is not an answer. Yes,
Yes,
is an
it does.
answer. You say at 12 o'clock, you went to a second bar where you had alcohol between 12 and 2.
Yes.
Yes?
Correct.
You got to a bar at 10 o'clock.
Yes.
Which one? The beer bar or the alcohol bar?
I finished my shift, like I said, at 9, and I showed up at the bar at 10 to meet up with them, to try to rekindle an old friendship.
Okay. Yeah. I actually don't care about that. All right, so partially you got your story straight, partially not. Anyway, you were two drunks. Now it's after 2 o'clock, and you decide to go to a park. How many people went to a park, and what park?
It was the same amount of people that I was with from the start.
And you were along at the park?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, it was.
Okay, did you take any beers to the park, or you went without them? You took beers to the park. The answer is yes.
Yeah, the main reasoning of going to the park was after the bar had closed, Jacob mentioned to the group that he had beers with him. So that incited us to go to the park and have some
To continue
beers with him.
drinking.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes, prior to me showing up, I did stop by 7-Eleven and pick
Okay, so you had beers with you, and you were at the bar.
Yes.
Nice, very good. Now you get to the park, you're drinking beers. Now you're going to describe what you say is the assault that you suffered at the hands of Mr. Knapp. Now, I want you to know my feeling before you tell me the story.
Okay.
I usually don't get myself overly exercised about what drunks do in a park. Do you understand?
Mm-hmm.
I know that you may be all exercised about it, although I'm not exactly sure you're all exercised about it. So if you really are, I'm going to listen to you. If you're not,
Yeah.
we just eliminate this case. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Claims his former friend, Jacob Knapp, owes for dental bills after being hit in the mouth with a beer can.
Okay, go. You're in the park, drunk. He's in the
yes.
park, drunk.
Yes.
And
To state I was not drunk because I was driving my witness here.
I
my
want to
friend
tell you
Maureen.
something. If you were drinking
Yeah.
from 7 to 2, you were
I
drunk.
hadn't been drinking the whole time that I was
Let's
there.
go. Let's go.
Okay. So going into it, I was sitting at a park bench with Maureen here, and then I had another two friends that were on the other side, and we're hanging out. They had the two across from me got up. They went further into the park, and I was sitting with just her alone. And I was just about to show her a video off my phone. Next thing I know, I get hit in the face by a beer. After that occurs, I reach to my mouth to see something's wrong there, and I feel that like a part of my tooth is missing.
Okay, and that's what we're talking about.
Yeah.
That's the assault that you're talking about.
Yeah.
And you allege that Mr. Knapp was the one who threw the beer bottle.
Yes.
Okay.
It was a full beer can.
A can.
Yeah, not bottle.
Did you report this incident to the police?
I did not take it to the police
Just a
because...
second, I'm just asking you.
Oh, sorry.
The answer is no.
No.
I disagree.
Disagree that he went to the police?
With his story.
Okay, I'll get there. Okay, so now you get hit in the face with a beer can, step by step. You look down, you look at your tooth.
Realize it's chipped. I say out loud, my tooth is chipped. She doesn't...
Don't tell me
believe it
not
at
about
first.
she, just
Oh,
you.
Just me? I noticed it was chipped. And then after I announced that it was chipped, several of my friends, I guess, went towards him. And I
Well,
don't
you
know-
didn't tell me anything about him. You didn't tell me. You just said you got hit in the face with a beer can.
Yeah.
That's all you said to
And
me.
he was the only other person that was standing right there, besides her sitting
Just a
next to me.
So you didn't see him throw the beer can at you.
There was no one else there.
I'm just...
Yeah. Oh, sorry. I didn't see him throw it at me, but there was never a case of
No, you didn't.
Of anything
That's
like that.
all.
Yeah.
You didn't see him throw it at you.
No.
Okay, go.
From the park, Your Honor?
Take it from
All
the
right.
park.
So
Now I got two drunks in the park, maybe three.
there was actually more than just three of us surrounding the table.
Just a second.
Me and him.
Go slowly.
Okay, sorry.
Slower.
Let me take
I
it
don't
down a
know
notch.
table. I have no idea what you're talking about.
So, as he was saying, we were sitting at a park bench. I had brought the beer. The beer was next to me. He had asked me to toss him a beer. And that's plainly what I did was I underhanded him lightly a beer to him. And in his defense, he's saying he wasn't drunk, but it definitely was apparent that he was. When you
Anybody who's been
toss a
drinking
beer,
from 7 to 2 in the morning is drunk.
Yes, ma'am. So I lightly tossed him a beer, and unfortunately it was dark enough to where he had missed, and the beer had hit him in the face. Which after, immediately I started to apologize to him, stating that I didn't mean to, but it was apparent he was looking at me and did not catch the beer. So personally, I think everything he said to you right now was...
That's your story. You tossed him a beer because he asked you. He said, toss me a beer.
Yes, Your Honor.
And it was dark.
Yes.
And you were drunk. And he was drunk.
I wasn't drunk, Your Honor. I had 4 beers within the time of 10 o'clock till when this incident happened.
You know, I'm not real comfortable with that, sir.
Okay.
Because according to you, you had been drinking for 4 hours. And not only were you drinking for 4 hours, but you brought extra alcohol to have in the park. By the way,
which was a closed container.
Where do you live? In what
In Pasadena, Your Honor.
In California. Are you allowed to drink alcohol in parks in California?
I'm not certain.
Well, let's find out. Open beer cans in city parks in California.
That's a no.
So after...
We're not talking yet.
I'm sorry. Excuse me.
Drinking alcoholic beverages is a prohibited activity in parks and park areas, according to the Pasadena City Park rules.
Thank you. This park that you went to, what's the name of it?
I'm not sure. It was up the street from the last bar we were at.
Okay. Now, did you, Mr. Costello, and the defendant, immediately after this event, did you communicate with him via text or email?
I texted him, I think it was roughly a couple of days later.
Okay. I'd like to see the text.
I have that.
That's all I want to see.
Don't
Don't say anything else.
Okay.
Just show me the texts that you sent him a couple of days later.
There it is.
Okay. Thanks, Kevin. I'd like to see these texts from your phone, and I'd like to see all your text messages starting September 14th.
It's right here.
Of 2021.
Mm-hmm.
No, sir, you have to understand. What you said to me here, what you gave me, is 2 texts a year apart. I want to see the texts to him.
There was nothing.
After September 14th, you mean he didn't respond at all to this? I don't believe that.
My next thing that I did was I sent a letter through the mail, and I have that here, and I have proof of it where I had it so where he had to sign for it, and I have the receipt for it as well.
What date?
That one, I can pull it up right here.
I'm sorry, what letter? I never received a letter.
Just a second. So what you're telling me is that I'm supposed to believe that after you sent this email on September 14th, which is 3 days after the event, he never responded to you and you never sent a follow-up email or text.
That was the letter. And in the letter I gave him...
Shh, just a second.
Okay.
Oh, here. Take this back. It's nonsense. I don't want to see something prepared for litigation, sir. You said you had a document that you sent to him that he had to sign for. If you sent him a letter, return receipt requested, then you have a return receipt requested with a signature on it. That's a document that you prepared 2 days ago.
I have the receipt in here.
Let's get it.
Okay.
I never signed such document.
Just don't shout out again.
Yes, ma'am.
It's annoying, and I'm annoyed enough with this case.
I'm sorry for being so unorganized.
Me too.
Yeah.
I'm sorry you're so unorganized too, or disorganized.
Oh, here it is.
Great.
Certified mail. They're stuck to the back one.
This was sent April of 2022. I want to see what the response was. There had to be a response.
I never got a
since
response
September
from him.
14th, 2021. There had to be a response.
I never got a response from him.
Kevin, show this to Mr. Knapp and tell me if he recalls this text message.
Your Honor, no, I do not remember getting this text.
Why would you respond a year later? I know from the past, dealing with Mr. Knapp here, he tends to always, being friends, whenever get into an altercation or argument, he unfollows me blocks me on everything.
Okay.
So there's a possibility by that text message not going through.
I don't deal in possibilities, sir.
I sent the text message, and I have proof of there. It was delivered, and I never got a response from him.
I'm just asking.
Yeah.
Sir, this incident happened September 11th. You have to understand, I think that if that's what happened. I tend to believe that the defendant did not just willy-nilly take a can and fling it at your face. I want you to know that I don't believe that.
Giovanni Castillo has accused his former friend, Jacob Knapp, of hitting him with a beer can. Jacob says Giovanni asked him to throw it.
Okay, it is more likely than not that you were sitting with this lady who, according to you, you were supposed to drive home. That's what you said 5 minutes ago. So you were supposed to drive home, which means she was trashed, because that's what you said. You said, I wasn't...
This was the arrangements from the very beginning of the night.
Okay. Do you understand? So we had a whole bunch of trashed people. And I am more likely to believe the defendant when he says you said to him, toss me a beer, and it accidentally hit you in the face.
My questioning is that the...
I don't answer questions.
Okay, well, where the beer was placed on the table, I don't understand why I would have to ask him to toss me a beer when I can simply reach over and grab one myself.
I don't know either. But it sounds more likely to me than not that it was his beer, he brought it there, and you said to him, toss me a beer. And you failed to catch it. Now, that doesn't mean that the defendant isn't at least partially responsible for the stupidity of that night. But you have some responsibility, too, because I really don't believe that he left the bar. He was angry and frustrated over something that you had no idea what he was angry and frustrated over, because you were all sitting together. And he just, out of the blue, took a beer and threw it at your face. I don't believe that. Do you understand?
If I could show you a picture here, you could see that if he just simply tossed me a beer, I don't understand how a beer can could chip my tooth the way that it did.
Just a second. It can. It can.
Okay.
I can eat a biscotti and it can chip my tooth. Biscotti, that's a cookie, a very hard cookie. And have. And have. I mean, I could chip my tooth on my grandmother's steak, it was so hard. But certainly from a beer can. So I don't believe that you're blameless. What was your dental bill, sir?
I have the statements here.
While he's looking for that, you understand that if you were sitting there and instead of a bunch of beer cans and the plaintiff said to you, you know, that gun that's in your pocket, toss it over to me, I want to take a look at it. And you did. You took a gun out of your pocket and you tossed it over to him, and as you were tossing it over, it accidentally fired. Would it be his fault if he got shot?
No.
No. Whose fault would it be?
Mine.
Right. Because you weren't supposed to do that. Because it was potentially dangerous.
Of course.
Well, same thing with a knife or an explosive device.
Right.
Or something very hot, like toss me a cup of coffee in a container and it splatters. So you don't do what anybody asks you to do if it's not a smart thing to do.
Right.
Unless you're drunk. Unless you're drunk.
Your Honor,
then,
if I may.
Yeah.
Coming from a baseball background, such as me and Gio did.
I don't care about your baseball background. There's no question, sir, that you acknowledge you threw it at him. And I'm telling you that if your excuse is that he asked me to do it, so I followed the fool's directions. I'm telling you, he's going to pay part of his dental bill, because I think it was partially his responsibility. But if you acknowledge that you were stupid enough to throw the beer can in his direction, you have to be partially liable. You're two drunks, that's what happens. So don't get so drunk and go to a park. How old are you?
27.
27 is old, and you?
28, Your Honor.
28. You know, old enough not to be so stupid. You know, you can figure 17, 18-year-olds are so stupid. At age 28, you should be doing something constructive. I assume you work?
Yes.
What kind of work do you do?
I'm a chef.
And you?
I'm a lumberman, Your Honor.
Okay, so you're both gainfully employed, letting off a little steam. That's fine. But if there's a problem that develops because anybody is not operating on all cylinders because of alcohol, you have to take responsibility. What was the dental bill?
My dental bill came out to $2,342.
Can I see that, please, Kevin?
I have this here. I'll give you both.
Was any of this dental bill covered by insurance?
On the dental, no.
Okay. Anything else?
My wholeheartedly truth is I didn't ask him for a beer. I had no problems. I was avoiding him the whole night for the most part because from the past, Jacob has had a way worse drinking problem than I've ever gotten to. I went out that night solely to have a couple drinks, hang out with friends. The night went longer than expected.
Very nice. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $1,171, which is half of your dental bill. You pay half. Don't get drunk. You're too old to get drunk. I don't believe that he maliciously threw this at you. I think that you asked for a beer, tossed it at you, and you missed. That was his stupidity and yours. We're done here. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Your Honor.
This court is adjourned.
All I did was I underhand lightly tossed it over to him, and that's really what happened.
I did nothing wrong to deserve to get a beer thrown at my face like a baseball.
Unfortunately, he chipped his tooth, and so it was unfortunate.
I said, hey, Jacob, look, you chipped my tooth. Look what you just did.
No more drinking in the parks, guys.
Not to do it again.
I think this situation is the exact reason cities like Pasadena have rules about drinking alcohol in parks, because like you always say, it's not an on purpose, it's an accident. But a lot of times there are certain things that can increase the probability of an accident happening.
True.
And I think drinking at 2 a.m. in a park probably is one of those things.
That's true. So so many times rules and regulations don't seem to have any substance of reason behind it. But this certainly is an example of why.
Jeremy DeTorres is suing his former employer, Chad Young, for unpaid wages and filing a false restraining order.
Court come to order. All rise.
Have a seat, please.
Case 2140, DeTorres versus Young.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. DeTorres, according to your complaint, you did some work for the defendant as a plumber. Didn't work out, and he terminated you, and he owes you some wages.
Yes, ma'am.
The defendant says that while your work in the beginning was okay, you were never an employee of his. You're an independent contractor. That's the way he sets it up, and he's going to explain that to me. That he paid you your wages, even though the last job that you did cost him an awful lot to repair. He was not happy with the quality of work that you did, and his counterclaim is for vandalism, something that happened with his truck, work hours lost due to your incompetence. That I'm not going to hear, sir. You make a choice with an employee, and if it turns out to be something that is less than satisfactory, then you let them go. But the one who I assume suffered from what you call lack of quality work that he performed was the person that you were working for. Was that a private residence that he was doing work in?
Yes. Yeah, a bunch of
that's
private residents.
Yeah, that's the person who suffered.
Yes.
Yeah, sure. Okay, so we're going to make this as easy as possible. From what days to what days did you work?
I worked for Chad from June 13th to August 3rd.
And how much were you supposed to be paid?
For those 3 days, $840.
And that's for 3 days' work?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you say June 13th?
Yes, ma'am.
To August 3rd?
Correct.
Well, that's more than 3 days.
No, his wage he owes me from August 1st to August 3rd is what he did not pay me for.
Okay, and where did you work during those days?
Multiple residents.
Okay, do you have any sort of a call log from him?
I do. It's right here in my
Do
short.
you dispute that he worked from August 1st, 2nd, and 3rd?
Yes.
You dispute that
There was one day he actually did one of my jobs for a couple hours that day.
Doesn't matter. He has a log.
Half a day for one day.
Did you pay him for that half day?
I did not, because the job was done incorrectly multiple times.
But he did that job. Okay, now, do you have a log?
As in?
It's some sort of a work log. You have a business. You have people who are general contractors. You get a call. You don't have a payroll because you pay these people independently. Do you pay them in cash or check?
Both.
Well, how did you pay him?
Sometimes it was through a cashier's check and sometimes it was cash.
Okay, but never through a company check where you deducted Social Security.
No, because I 1099 all my employees, so they're all self-employed, so they have to do all that on their own.
I do understand. I mean, you're not the inventor of this whole system, sir, of paying in cash. Okay. Are you one of those independent contractors?
Yes, ma'am.
Stand up. How long have you been an independent contractor?
I've been contracted with Chad since July 5th.
Of what year?
This year, 2022.
Oh, so short term.
Yes, ma'am.
Does he pay you in check or cash?
No,
look at me.
Check it first, and then later on it became through Venmo, and then it's gone back to check now.
What kind of check?
Cashier's check.
Just a straight cashier's check with nothing taken out.
No, ma'am.
No, I go to my bank to get all that.
What?
I go to my bank to get the cashier's checks, and sometimes I Venmo him the payment too, just to pay.
I understand, but sir, you're not the first person who I know who pays their people in cash and says that you're independent contractors. You're independent contractors. I don't want to know about it. What name do you use for the cashier's checks?
My personal name.
Is this the first time you've worked for him?
Yes.
Okay, let me see what you have for August 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. Where did you work? Come on.
There were multiple residents, ma'am.
Well, you have to tell me so that he can answer. He said that you worked half a day that he didn't pay you for.
Yes, ma'am.
So let's say that's a full day. So that's $200.
Okay. See, he would email it on his work phone, and I'd follow the addresses there.
Well, then you would have
write
it on
down
your
my
phone.
short notes
Just
on
a
this.
second. Then you would have it on your phone.
It was his company phone. He took it back when he came to my house unannounced and told me that I was fired. Redeemed his truck. Got my tools out of his vehicle.
Okay, just a second. Do you have your phone?
I do. I have my personal one that I.
What about the phone that you took from him?
No, that one's actually broke, so it's been with Mo for the past week.
Let me see the notes that you have that you took.
Yes, ma'am.
Fascinating.
It's my shorthand, ma'am.
How do I know what dates these are for?
It was all on his phone, ma'am.
Well, that's not him to have to prove, sir.
I wasn't able to prove anything when he took his phone back. I just had that's the notes when I was employed for him, as I wrote down.
It's not helpful to me.
Yes, ma'am.
So far, the only thing that he's acknowledged is that he owes you a day's wages.
Yes, ma'am.
Which is $210. The other part of your complaint is a false restraining order against you.
Yes, ma'am.
Did you file a restraining order against
I did.
him? Do you have a copy of what you wrote in your restraining order?
I do.
I'd like to see it.
So what got me that restraining order is he called, made threats, and made
Was
threats.
this after you fired him?
It was.
Okay, so after you fired him, he called you.
Made threats.
Well, what did he say when he called you?
Just basically talking about I'm going to come to your house and everything.
He wanted money.
I guess, yeah.
He said, you didn't pay me.
Yeah.
Okay. You say you got a text message and voicemail from Jeremy threatening to come to my place of residence.
Yes.
Can I hear it?
Yeah. Do you want me to play it? Or do you want to look at it?
I want to look at it.
Okay.
So, Mr. Torres, did you, after he fired you and came to your residence, took your house, did you call him threatening to come to his house?
I did.
You did?
With the police. It says it on these text messages, ma'am.
Okay. I'm going to take his phone and those text messages.
There's more text. That's just the one where he said he'd send me my money.
That's the voicemail if you want me to play it for you. Sometimes the transcription doesn't work.
Yeah.
You want me to play it?
Just.
Hey, bro. I definitely worked more than 9 hours for the last week that I worked for you. I'll be contacting my... Play with me. I'll show up at your house.
Yeah, that's a threat.
With the police.
Just a second. That's a threat.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
I've had more.
That's a threat.
I
Just
had
a
more incidents before that as well.
May I say something, ma'am? He accused me of going into his gated community, slashing tires on his work vehicle. I stated that I was going to come to his house after, if you read my text, I said to him, hey, bro, I think I misunderstood your text message. If I did, my bad. If not, I'll show up at your house with the police. I never went to his house. I waited to see if he'd be the big man and just send me my money like he said he would.
I listened to the message, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
The message sounded threatening.
Did you read the rest of them?
I don't care. That message sounded threatening.
E.T. Torres claims his former employer, Chad Young, owes for unpaid wages and filing a false restraining order.
Okay, that message alone, if he felt threatened because you were going to come to his house, and you not only said you were going to come to his house, but you used an expletive before you did that, which sounded threatening. This may be more benign, but that phone message was sufficient for him to file for a protective order against you.
Okay, why didn't he show up at the protective custody order?
I don't answer your questions.
No,
you don't necessarily.
Absolutely.
Some people don't pursue it because once it's done, it's done.
It wasn't done.
And once it's
This
done,
is the dismissal right here. Dismissal for the
No,
injunction.
didn't show up. I understand he didn't show up, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
But I'm saying to you, I listened to your text message, and he had an absolute right to
Can
see.
you see where he threatened me as well with all these back and forth texts and calling each other? Because it's in the text
You're
messages.
suing him for money owed for wages and filing a false restraining order.
Okay.
You've proven that you worked an additional day for which he didn't pay you, which is $210. He has a counterclaim. He says that you vandalized the tires on his car. The rest of it, I'm not dealing with, sir. You picked this employee. You don't then sue the employee if you don't like the job that they do. You fire them and you get somebody else to do the job. But you can't sue him because did the person who you did the job for sue you?
No, because I've got a really good reputation with my customers.
Because you fixed it. Because it wasn't done right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Even up to that last day I said he worked for me, that job I had to go back to 2 weeks ago that they couldn't close on the house.
The next time you won't hire him.
Yeah.
Maybe other people won't either. But I want you to tell me about the tires. I want you to tell me what proof do you have that he had anything to do with your tires? When were the tires slashed, flattened?
So the police report was done Friday when he made the threats.
Friday. What's the date?
I got the date right here. I think it was
August 5th.
Yeah, so August 5th is when he did it.
August 5th is when
The police report was made for the threats.
for the threat with the voicemail.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so it was the end of the day Friday, so court's closed for the weekend.
August 5th.
Yep. And then Monday, the 8th, I went outside to go to work. My tires were slashed in the end. At that point, I realized it was just over and done, and I need to go down and get a restraining order so people can't come onto my, my property.
Because
area.
you believed it was the plaintiff who was responsible. You believed you didn't have proof at the time.
Yes.
You didn't have proof.
Again, and even in my injunction, I knew all I needed was this police report to get the injunction, so I just put in my police report.
You're
that
not
my
talking
tires
about
were
an
flat.
injunction. You're talking about a restraining order.
Yeah, the restraining order. Yeah.
Okay.
So I
It
went
was
to file the
injunction.
restraining. So in my restraining order, I put just my tires were flat. I did not put my tires were slashed at any point because I knew the police report was enough to get the restraining order.
Okay, your
so I didn't
tires
go
were
in
flat.
detail about my tires.
Okay, so in the police report, you have that your tires were flattened.
No, that wasn't on the police report because that didn't happen yet. The tire incident did not happen.
Okay.
That happened Friday. Monday morning, I went out in my vehicle to go to work. That's when I found them flat and slashed.
Did you file another police report?
That's when I went and filed the restraining order that day. And I have
Okay,
a
and in
copy
the
of that
application for a restraining order, you said?
that my tires were flat, and that was it.
Yes. Okay.
I didn't mention that they were slashed.
Correct.
So I don't know how he would
Got
know
it.
my tires were slashed if I didn't mention it on my restraining order.
I don't know. That's an interesting question. Mr. DeTorres. Mr. DeTorres, stop your paper fluttering.
Okay.
What made you think that the defendant's tires were slashed rather than just the air let out of them?
Because I read this police report and it has a mark right here saying, or the file
Show me.
that he did.
Show me. And make a
It's right
circle.
here, damaged property is what I read. He checked that I damaged his property because this
Yeah.
is written against me.
Mr. DeTorres, do you understand my question, sir?
Yes, ma'am. I'm sorry. I'm nervous in the
Just a
flight.
second.
I
This
had no
has
sleep.
nothing to do with nerves,
You're
Mr.
right.
DeTorres.
Well, I had no sleep last night.
That has nothing to do with sleep.
As far as not being...
Just a second.
Yes, ma'am.
What I'm asking you, Mr. DeTorres, is where does it say here that his tires were slashed?
In my mind, somebody writing that against me, flattened tires, what else would it be? He lives in a gated community.
Well, that could
Where's
be
the surveillance
what could it-
showing me that,
what-
that my leg injury, the way I walk, is very distinctive? Okay? If he's got a proof that I slashed or flattened his tires, I said slashed. It's the same thing as flattened in my mind. That's the way I think. The way I read that, that's just how it came out of my mouth.
But you have to understand that that's not what this says.
Okay? It says that I
It
damaged
said,
his
he
property.
said damaged his property, and you said slashed tires.
Okay.
Okay?
Yes, ma'am.
How much were the tires?
$450.
Let me see the receipt.
I do not have a receipt because I pay cash for my tires.
Well, that's too bad. You better stop paying cash, sir. You can pay cash for tires.
Yeah.
But when you buy tires with cash and you want to sue for them, you get a receipt.
Yeah.
from the people. And if you know you're coming to court, we're not talking about things that happened 2 years ago.
Yeah.
You were coming to court today.
I went back to the tire shop and he's like, we just, we always do cash for all your vehicles. And
Well, what's the
receipts, no
cash
nothing.
for all your vehicles? That means you get a receipt. All right, your counterclaim's dismissed because you have no proof of anything. On the complaint, sir, I'm awarding you $210, which is 1 day's pay. Thank you very much. This case is over.
This court is adjourned.
The work just wasn't up to the quality that he promised he was going to offer.
It is what it is.
That's just his nature. That's always been his nature.
The judgment is what the judgment is. She felt like I was only awarded a day's pay, and that's what she gave me.
Keep doing what I do. That's all I can do every day.
Well, Sarah Rose, that is the perfect example of you're supposed to have proof when you come to court.
Yep. Standard of proof exists for a reason.
I know that when I go someplace, and sometimes I pay cash.
Mm-hmm.
So even if you pay cash for something,
There's some
or Venmo,
record. Venmo
you're
is a good
supposed to
record.
get a receipt in the event that you want to use whatever you bought and use that fact that you purchased something in a subsequent lawsuit.
Yeah.
It's the same thing as sending a gift. If you send somebody a gift, you keep the receipt until you know that they got the gift.
Yeah.
Then you take it and you throw it away. It's just
It's good bookkeeping. It's good record keeping.
And he's a business guy.
Yeah,
He's a business guy.
supposedly.
Didn't make sense to me, but clearly plaintiff was somebody who has a little trouble.
Yeah.
Case 2161, Shaheen versus Larry. All parties, please step forward.
Jamal Shaheen is suing his neighbor, Sabrina Larry, for car damage after Sabrina hit his vehicle and a house.
Mr. Shaheen, tell me where you live.
I live in Moorhead, Minnesota.
And on September 8th of this year, you parked your relatively new car that, according to you, you got a week before.
No, Your Honor.
I had just purchased a Sequoia a week before.
No, actually, it's not. It's not the new car. I mean, it's a used car, but I purchased it maybe a year before that, not exactly a week.
Okay. So it's not a new car and you didn't purchase it a week before?
No.
But you parked it in front of your house. Do you have a photograph of the car?
I do.
I'd like to see it. And it is your claim that the defendant, Miss Larry, while under some sort of influence of some sort of substance, was driving her car, had an accident, hit your car, and caused it to move 25 feet, and it was damaged.
Yes.
And the damage to the car was the rear bumper.
Yep.
Not yep. Yes is the answer.
Yes.
Yes
Your
is the answer. Okay. Miss Larry, what time did you have your accident?
9 or 10 a.m.
On the 8th?
Yes.
Where were you coming from?
The grocery store.
Where were you going?
Home.
What kind of drugs had you taken?
I was taking Benadryl, prescription medication. That's all I had. That's what I took. And
Can I see the police report? You remember hitting his car?
No.
You remember the police coming to where your car stopped?
No, I don't remember the police coming.
Well, did the police come?
They did, yes.
And you don't remember that?
I don't remember that.
Were you taken to a hospital?
I was.
You have the discharge notes from the hospital?
I do.
I'd like to see it. What kind of narcotics were found inside the vehicle?
It's alleged that it was a...
No, it's not alleged. This is a police report. I'm asking you. What kind of narcotics were found in your car?
They said that they found a round blue pill that had an M30 on it. That's what it stated.
Sarah, do me a favor. Sure. Look up under illegal drugs, M30.
So M30s imitate oxycodone obtained from a pharmacy, but when sold on the streets, the pills routinely contain fentanyl.
Look up this name, Percocet. You smoke Percocet? How do you smoke Percocet? That's the only thing you remembered. You didn't remember the accident. Patient remembers smoking Percocet pill just prior to allegedly passing out and crashing her vehicle. That's what they say from your doctor.
Yeah, that's what they're saying.
That's what they're saying. The history is provided by the patient. The history is limited by condition of the patient. History is limited because the patient does not remember the actual automobile accident. Remembers smoking Percocet pill just prior to allegedly passing out and crashing her vehicle. You think the doctor made that up? And they just so happened to have found this blue pill in your console in your car?
That's what they are saying.
Okay. You actually know you could have killed yourself. Yeah. Okay. And you don't remember anything about it because that's what you told them. You don't remember anything about anything after you smoked the little blue pill, which is what they said. So your car was moved. That's the damage to your car.
Yeah.
So Can I see the estimate for the damage, please?
I think
You gave it to me?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Have you had the car fixed?
Just a back tail light that I had to put it on. I was trying to fix it, but don't have any money to do it.
Sarah, look up, please, would you?
I'm looking it up right now.
Oh, great. Thank you. Oh, it's a 21-year-old car. It's got 226,000 miles on it. How much did you pay for it, sir?
I paid 10.
We're not going to spend $7 to fix it.
But that's how much it costs.
You find somebody to do it less.
Well, now I am without a car.
You're not without a car, sir. You put on the tail light so that you could drive it. This car is not drivable.
That car was dragged. That back axle, it shakes. I can't drive it.
Between 2 and 5,000.
Between 2 and 5,000. You paid too much for the car, sir. You don't understand something, sir. Even though she was high on drugs and passed out in her car and you were not at fault, it's not windfall day. If you can buy the car for $2,000, buy an old 22-year-old car for $2,000. She's not paying you $7,000 to fix a $2,000 car. That's ridiculous. And I'm not stupid. Do we understand each other? Now, between
2,500 and 5,000 based off of a 250,000 mile 2002 Toyota.
So you have to find somebody who's going to fix your car for $3,000, sir. That's $1,000 more than you could buy it for. We're done here. Judgment for the plaintiff.
This court is adjourned.
I would remember if I hit a car, and I didn't.
She ran into my car, ran into a garage.
I know exactly what I took, and it definitely wasn't narcotics.
That area that I was living in, it's a really bad area. A lot of drugs are going on over there.
I'm very, very lucky. I'm very blessed. Like she said, I could be dead.
Just the audacity of some plaintiffs to come in here with an almost 22-year-old car with 275,000 miles on it. And I looked it up, and I even priced it on the positive end, the private party value, not a trade-in, and so forth. $7,000 he was comfortable asking the court for a car that's not even worth $7,000.
Yeah, he'll buy
for a back panel.
Buy a new one. He was lying when I said, how much did you pay for the car? $10,000. That's ridiculous. And he just bought it, he said, a year ago. In the papers, he said he bought it a week before. So either it was a week or a year.
Either way, not worth $7,000.
Not worth $7,000.
Autumn Burke is suing her former friend, Freya Brown, for vandalizing her car and an assault.
Court come to order. All rise.
Have a seat, please.
Hello, Judge. Case 2186, Burke versus Brown.
Thank you. Ms. Burke, I understand that you and the defendant met when you were both in foster care.
Yes.
How old are you?
19.
And how old were you, if I can ask you these questions, if you're uncomfortable, please let me know. How old were you when you went into foster care?
16, I believe.
Were you originally placed in group homes?
Yes, and through Orangewood Foundation, as well as transitional housing programs.
When did you start transitional housing from group homes?
I started that when I was 17. That was in 2021, where I was roommates with Freya, and we lived there.
Okay, and could you describe the facility where you were living?
We were living in Tustin, an apartment complex where they rent out the rooms and they have foster kids go in there and then they pay, well, they don't pay rent, but it's a transitional program to move up to the extended foster care transitional housing program for after you're 18. So it's better to be placed into this one so it helps foundation towards the next one.
Towards total independence?
Yes.
And how long did you stay in that facility? Until when?
Like a few months after I turned 18, I got into the Costa Mesa transitional housing.
Okay, from Costa Mesa, do you go into any other facility through the foster care system, or are you then supposed to get a job and get on your own 2 feet?
So this program, the independent living program, it's really hard for foster kids to get into. You have to be set up with all the requirements. And so...
What kind of requirements? Are there academic requirements?
Yeah, academic requirements, working, going to school, meeting with the manager that comes in every week. Yes.
Were you going to school?
Yes.
What school were you going to?
Golden West College.
Are you still going to school?
Yes, I currently am taking a break from this semester, but I'm still going to continue it.
Are you working?
Yes.
And you living on your own?
I'm renting a room out in Irvine with 2 different roommates.
And Miss Brown, what about you? How long have you been in the foster care system and how old are you now?
I've been in the foster care system since I was 13 years old. I am currently 19.
Tell me where you're living.
Right now I live in a rented room in a house also in Irvine.
Tell me what you're doing.
Right now I work in sales. I'm a sales associate.
Is it a full-time job?
It's part-time. I'm also in school. I go to Fullerton College and I'm a biology major.
Interesting. Are you good in science?
I really liked science in high school, so yeah.
Well, you seem like 2 absolutely delightful ladies. I don't know why you got into this kerfuffle, but each one of you claim that you were assaulted by the other. You claim that Miss Brown caused vandalism to your car. Miss Brown says that you had her falsely arrested after this altercation, which seems to be an unhappy event over a guy.
Over a guy.
I mean, they're necessary evils, but over a guy. So 2 lovely girls who probably weathered a lot of storms in your life to keep together that most 15, 16-year-olds don't have to do. How could 2 nice girls get into a kerfuffle over a guy?
I have no idea.
Go.
Okay, so on September 2nd, near 10 p.m., I was cooking us dinner, and Freya's sitting at the counter, and then while I'm cooking dinner, I get a call from my ex, and he's just...
From your ex-boyfriend, not ex-husband.
Oh, yes.
From your ex-boyfriend?
Yes.
Okay. And his name is, what's his first name?
I would prefer...
Let's call him Cat.
Cat, yeah. So
you get a call from Cat. Do you know Cat?
Personally, no, I do not know him.
Have you ever met him?
No, I have not.
Okay. So now you get a call from Cat. And how long has he been your ex-boyfriend?
Well, we just had a situationship, like it was just off and on, but he just called me and I just had him on the phone as speaker and...
So you had him on speakerphone, you're cooking her dinner, she's sitting at the counter.
Yeah, and he starts making flirtatious comments like saying if I had any cute friends near around, and I know it doesn't sound right, but...
It doesn't sound good, Miss Burke.
Yeah, but that's just like, I know him and that's like a different story, but regardless, then
So
Freya,
what was he, I want to know what he was saying.
Well,
you
he
have to tell me, because she probably remembers what he was saying.
I do.
So if you don't remember, I'll ask her. What did he say?
He asked in general if I had any cute friends near me or any around. Just saying if there was any cute friends near me. So that he...
Okay, so your ex-boyfriend calls you and asks you if you have any cute friends around.
Yes.
And you didn't just hang up on him.
Well, yes. I told him, I said that I can't like see him tonight and that he shouldn't be saying that. But the call ended because he had to go because he had to go back to work. So it ended quick.
Wait just a second. He must have said something that annoyed her.
That was it. He just asked
What did he
say?
Okay. You don't remember. What did he say?
He called her. They were talking for a minute, and then she was saying, you know, oh, I miss you, this and that. And he was like, can I come over? At which point she told him, oh, I'm with my 2 friends. And he was like, oh, what do they look like? Are they cute? How old are they? Which I thought was disrespectful to me and also disrespectful to her. I was trying to be a good friend. I informed her of it. And
No. So he was acting like a guy.
Yeah.
You know,
Yes.
think before you talk. There's no filter here. So he's saying, oh, really? You can't come over? You have 2 friends? Are they cute? Are they nice looking? And just to tell you, Miss Brown, I don't think it was disrespectful. I just think it's a stupid remark.
No,
Do you understand?
I understand,
It's
but
just stupid.
The tone and then the content, because it was on speaker, like I could hear everything. So
when he hung up, what did you say to her?
after they hung up, I didn't say anything to her. She said to me, she was like, you don't know him, you know, like we're in love.
And you said to her?
Basically saying I don't know him. So I was like, yes, you're completely right. I don't know him, but I don't want to hang out with him, basically is what I told her.
Well, was he coming over?
No, I was just telling her, like,
And what's your version? After he hung up, let me hear your version of what she said.
Okay, so after I hung up, it was just practically some of what she said, but it was more in an aggressive way and with a lot of attitude. And
show me.
I get done with the phone and I'm cooking, and then she wants to like humble under her breath and like say like, I don't know, just rude things about the call and like just looking at me weird. And I'm like, what's the problem? And I was just,
Okay, so she's looking at you weird and you say, what's the problem? And she says,
I don't know. She was going off and about, and then she started throwing trash on my counter and then threw it at me.
Your Honor.
Yeah, you did.
That is
no,
not true.
No, I have to tell you something. So far, it makes sense. But then I don't want you to tell me she just went from nothing disrespect to throwing food around the counter. That didn't happen.
That did not.
Okay, so before she started throwing the trash on my counter, she was saying how that I had attitude, but I was telling her that I did not have attitude. I was trying to de-escalate the situation by talking to her.
Attitude. So far, we're not attitude. So far, she's mumbling.
No, that's what
you
she
said under her breath.
Yeah, and then so she, I don't know, she would, like I said, it was a snap of a finger. Like, I'd never seen her switch like that. And, you know, I was confused. And then after she threw the trash, I told her to grab your stuff and get out of my house. And so I gave her time. She went in my room, grabbed her stuff. I waited by the door. I had it wide open. And she's just cursing and yelling and just like, I didn't want her in my house. And if I would have known she was like that.
No, let's not. Don't go down any tributaries.
Autumn Burke claims her former friend, Freya Brown, owes for vandalism and an assault. Freya is countersuing for an assault and filing a false police report.
There's a piece that I'm missing from this story, but let's say they're following your timeline. It probably makes sense as you got into an argument. You said to her, you know, he's really not that way. He's really a nice guy, and I love him. And she said, well, somebody who really loves you doesn't say, I want to come over and hang out with your two good-looking friends. That could escalate into something that's angry.
Your Honor. Well, the thing is, when she did mention those things, they weren't calm as you expressed.
Yes.
They weren't. Yes. They were very aggressive.
They could have been aggressive, but that's... They were not. They could have been aggressive.
I didn't see a reason why it should have been that way at all.
Listen, I'm not saying I agree with you or not. But I'm saying that common sense dictates to me that if you're on the phone with somebody that you still like and that you're an on again, off again, and you can't come over today because I have two friends here. Oh, really? You have two friends? Maybe I'll come over and hang out with your two friends. She found that disrespectful. I actually find it disrespectful to you and disrespectful to him. You really have nothing to do with it, Miss Brown. Somebody else was being a schlemiel.
No, I mean, I wasn't saying like...
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so now you tell her to get out, open her things. She's out the door, and?
Well, no, she's not out the door yet. So then I have the door wide open. She comes, and then we're still, like, argumenting, and I'm trying to get her out of my house. She pushes me, and then I go back into... Yes, it is. I go back into the door, and then she starts hitting on my arm, like, hitting me, so I'm, like, defending back, and it was just crazy. Like, I didn't realize I had the door wide open for her to get out, like, peacefully. And
okay, so
that
she
didn't
pushes
happen.
you, she puts her hands on you, you put your hands on her, pushing. And up until that point, there's a lot of maybe pushing, touching the arms, touching the hand, but nobody is injured. Is that a fair statement, standing at the door?
Well, I got assaulted because I have the pictures to show that my nail came off.
No, I'm asking you a question.
Yes.
Up until that time, did your nail come off during that time?
Yes.
Was it a real nail or a fake nail?
Both of my nails came off. Like, it was
on the same finger. You had a fake nail over your real nail.
And it both ripped off.
Okay. I'll take a look. Okay, I see a black and blue mark here that's under here. Mm-hmm. Right?
Yes.
And this is on your hand.
Yes.
What was this?
From blocking her hitting me.
What was she hitting you with?
Just her hands. Like, she was just like a cat fight. Like, she just went crazy. And so I was defending her out, trying to get her out of my house.
Okay. Did you respond to her hitting you?
Yes.
Yes. Do you have any photographs?
Yes, I do have
I'd like to take a look. So I see a scratch above your eye and a little bruise on this part of your hand. Is that what it is?
Yes, on my wrist.
And then there's a bruise on, is it this part of your elbow?
My elbow, yes.
Okay, so now you're arguing with each other. You both get banged up a little bit. Now she's outside.
Yes.
And what did you do? You finally got her out the front door.
So after a few minutes, she called me and said, "Warning, I'm at your car." So when I heard that, I called the cops immediately, and I asked them to come down because I think she's gonna be vandalizing my car or God knows what. And then so when that happened, me and my witness, Jasmine, we walked down out of my house because I wanted to go see like if my car, like what was going on. And so as I'm walking out, my car's parked over here. Freya's over here. And so when I'm walking out, then I meet her right here and she has a brick in her hand. And yeah, she had a brick in her hand the whole time until the cops came, and then they arrested her and they asked me if I wanted to file for assault and vandalization, and I said yes.
Okay, and when you got out to the car, she had a brick in her hand. Was there any damage to the car?
Yes, I have photos, proof to the left driver's side, and there's a video as well of the neighbor's Ring camera showing her vandalizing my car.
Yeah,
oh,
let me see the damage and then I'll see the video.
Thank you.
Okay, now I'll see the video.
Okay.
Okie dokie. That's where you were arrested, Miss Brown?
Yes.
Have you ever seen that video before?
I have not.
You have not?
No.
Okay. Can I see the estimates to the damage
Yes,
to your
ma'am.
car? Tell me when you bought this car.
I bought this car on August 1st in 2022. It was my first car. I paid for it full, all by myself.
You paid for it in cash?
Yes, and a check.
Okay. How long had you been saving for the car?
Oh, I've been saving for it for years, like a few years, ever since I've been working.
How much did you pay for it?
I paid a total of, I believe, $7,300 and something dollars.
Okay. So the estimate to fix the car is $3,777.
Yes, ma'am.
And the next thing is the price of the vehicle, for which you paid $7,350.
Yes.
Now, Ms. Brown, one would say to you as a result of seeing that video, temper, 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 you may have a temper, you can't do what you did. Would you acknowledge that you can't do what you did?
Yes, I acknowledge.
Great. So that means that you have to take care of this problem.
She hit me first, Your Honor.
And we're not talking about hitting.
I understand.
I'm talking about vandalizing a car.
Autumn Burke has accused her former friend, Freya Brown, of vandalism and assault. Freya claims Autumn threatened her with a knife and filed a false police report.
Neither one of you were hospitalized as a result of this assault. You got a couple of black and blue marks. Two girls
also
had a
threatened
fight,
me with a
and
knife.
that shouldn't have happened. But now the fight is de-escalated, and you went outside and purposely vandalized her car in a very, very aggressive way. And all I'm saying to you is, you understand that that was temper, temper, temper. You're not allowed to do that, and you have to pay for it.
She also threatened me with a knife.
She what?
I didn't.
Threatened me with a knife.
Just a second. I didn't see that when you were out there by yourself picking up a brick, right?
Yes.
And that was a long video. I don't see her in that video at all. I just see you picking up the brick, not doing enough damage, picking it up, doing a little more damage, picking it up, going to another side of the car, picking it up, going to the front of the car. I don't see her there threatening you.
She didn't threaten me at that point.
Right. Clearly, when you left the house, that ugly confrontation had been de-escalated.
It had not actually.
Of course it was, because you were out there by yourself. You could have gone. And if it was an ugly confrontation, you go to the police station and you say, I left my license in my friend's car. We had a fight. Could you come back with me on a standby and get my license, instead of using a brick to bash in her car?
My circumstances were different from Autumn's. I would like to inform you of that.
What were your different circumstances?
Well, I was supposed to be moving in 3 days, which Autumn was aware of. So had I called the police and been like, oh, I need this help, then I would have jeopardized my housing.
Oh, no, that's not true. Sorry about that, Miss Brown. If you called the police and merely said to them, I don't want to have an argument with her, that would not have jeopardized your getting into housing. Having this fight and vandalizing her car, that could prevent you from getting into housing.
Got me kicked out.
I'm just telling you, calling the police is not an issue. Going outside and for a period of probably at least 60 seconds and moving from different parts of her car and hitting it with a brick and bending down and picking up the brick again, that would prevent you from getting into housing.
I wasn't referring to the calling the police, I meant the fighting.
Oh, I'm talking about the fighting. $37.75, that's the cost of fixing the car. Now, the only other issue that you have on your counterclaim is for being falsely arrested.
Yes.
I would arrest you for that. You should be. Listen, if I came out of my house and found somebody bashing my property, I don't care if we had a long-standing feud. Well, I have a long-standing feud with her. We had an argument. We had a fight, whatever. That is not the natural progression of having an altercation with an old friend, going out and vandalizing her car. So your countersuit for being falsely arrested is dismissed. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $3,775.
Your Honor, I'm going to be rightfully for losing my housing during that process because of that incident, because of the transitional housing program I was in. I got kicked out of it, and so I had 30 days. So I believe I should be getting for that as well because
Where's the head of the Department of Social Services to testify before me that the reason you lost your housing, if in fact you did lose your housing, was because of this vandalism? You have a witness here to tell me that?
I have the 30 days notice, if that counts.
May?
Yes.
I'll take a look.
Oh, here it is.
This says, letters to give you written 30-day notice to move out of the transitional housing program. You were involved in a verbal physical altercation which involved a weapon with another individual and resulted in the police being called on September 1st, 2022. When you entered the program, you were informed and signed paperwork agreeing to our program rules and expectations. Who was it alleged that had the weapon?
She had a knife.
I bought it out of self-defense. I dropped it right when I saw you.
Just a second.
No, you didn't.
Yeah, I did.
Just a second. No, but just a second. She says the weapon was a knife.
It was.
And the knife was being held by you.
Yes, that's
So you
self-defense.
took. No, it's not in self-defense anymore, madam. It's not self-defense. She's out. She's away from you. Your choice is to call the police and wait. Your choice is not to pick up a knife, because so far this altercation has been a lot of tussling between girls that shouldn't have happened, but so far nothing involved a weapon. So you went outside with a knife, and according to the rules, you can't do that. And that was the reason that you lost your housing, because there's no other reason. It said it involved a weapon, and they listed the rules: drugs, alcohol, assault, danger, making threats. Well, you have a knife, that's threats, whatever. 3775, fix your car. You're not allowed to do that to her car. That's a hissy fit. Figure out how to do it. Your counterclaim's dismissed. You should have been arrested for vandalism. Goodbye.
This court is adjourned.
Well, I was in shock. I was like, wow, like over no reason, over my ex calling me, like, come on, like we're adults now. I'm gonna move on with my life and just go up from here and not down here where other people like to take me down to their level. I'm super thankful to have her handle my case today. She is a queen.
You know what I was really impressed with both of those girls, Sarah? You know, I know the foster care system, usually wherever it is, can be a brutal system to negotiate. And these two young women, at least on the surface, appear to have negotiated it in an orderly, reasonable way. I mean, she's living on her own. She evidently worked for a very long time because she saved up and bought her own car. That's a lot of response. That's a big deal.
And to even be able to figure out the system, which even as lawyers, sometimes we have a difficult time navigating things in the foster care system, to figure out this transitional program that better sets you up for the next step, that sets you up better for the next step. I respected that she took the time to figure out
Both of them.
both
Actually,
or
both.
their best possible options for navigating the system that they were placed in.
Both working.
Yes.
Both going to school to try to get themselves into a better circumstance. The defendant certainly is a biology major, which is fascinating
Not
to
our
me.
thing.
Not our
but
thing.
Great for her.
But clearly, bright young women who made it to a place at age 19 that's really terrific.
Yeah.
And supportive of each other, because one had a license, one didn't, so they were supporting each other. All very lovely. And get into a kerfuffle over nothing.
It shows just how fast all that work and all that preparation for the next step and for the housing can just crumble.
Can just unravel. Really sad. That's sad. But they seem like two nice young women, and I think that they have both of them have a shot.
Yeah, to make it back on track, and I hope they do.
Me too.
Mila Bazin is suing her former employer, Sarah Adams, for lost wages and pain and suffering from a dog bite.
Court come to order. All rise.
Have a seat, please.
Hello, Judge. Case 2177, Bazin versus Adams.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Ms. Bazin, you had a job as a dental assistant. Is that right?
Yes.
And you went to school for that?
Yes, Your Honor.
Where did you go to school?
Medical Institute?
Did you graduate?
Yes.
I gather you didn't like it.
No.
I say that because you didn't stay in that career path for very long. Just for my own curiosity, I come from a long family of dentists. Tell me why you didn't like being a dental assistant. Had to be a reason.
Cleaning people's teeth and having them fight you and tell you that they don't have cavities when they do.
You didn't like the whole experience?
Yeah, all the explaining you have to do.
Okay, got it. Wasn't for you.
No.
You've got it in your hip pocket should you ever need it again, right?
Yeah.
You have the degree. In any event, the defendant was a patient of yours. She came in as a patient?
Yes.
And you got to know each other, according to you. And she offered you a job at a place that she manages. You manage a store? What kind of store?
It's in a plant store, so we sell scratch and dent appliances.
When was that?
Oh, geez. This had to have been in May.
May of 2022?
Correct.
Is that when you started working in the store?
I started July 3rd.
That was your start date? And what were your duties?
Sales rep, she taught me how to sell the scratch and dent appliances, how to run the store and help her manage it. I was making more commission, so I did take the job besides the dental office.
So you worked in the dental office too?
No.
You left the dental office?
I left the dental office so I could pursue more money.
Okay. And you did make more money?
Yes.
There came a time, according to what I read in the complaint, that you, Miss Adams, asked the plaintiff to do an outside job for you.
No, that was not correct. So
tell me how it happened that she ended up at your house.
What happened was I was going to take my lunch to take my kids who were at home lunch because they were on school break. She offered to go.
How old are your children?
16, 13, and 10. She offered to go in my place that she wanted a break. She clocked out for her lunch. I gave her money to go, one, pick up the food, and two, a little bit of gas money. She then went to my house.
Just a minute, we're not there yet. She clocked out for her lunch break.
I was clocking out of work.
Shh. And you're the store manager?
Yes, ma'am.
And how long do you get for a lunch break?
An hour.
That's an hour during the day. That's yours.
Correct.
Now, from the store where she clocked out, to the place where she was supposed to pick up lunch for your children, how far was that? Because you said you gave her gas money, so it wasn't around the corner.
15 minutes away.
And how far from this place where she got the food is your house?
Right down the road.
5 minutes.
Not even 2.
2 minutes, 17 minutes. And then she's got to get back.
Correct.
So that's almost 40 minutes.
Correct.
Out of her 1 hour lunch. So she was doing you a favor.
Yes, ma'am.
But why don't you just say that? So you made me go through this whole exercise. It was more than half her lunch. It gave her 15 minutes for lunch. She was doing you a favor.
Yes, ma'am.
Did she ask you to do her this favor?
Yes.
Tell me how she asked you to do her this favor.
wouldn't go through when we were ordering the food. I was already on my way home. It was 2 o'clock in the afternoon, so I was ready to go. She said, go ahead, here's some money, deliver the food to the children. Thank you for your help.
Did you have to pick up the food?
Yes.
Okay, she
I
gave you
went through
money.
the drive-thru, sat in the drive-thru, ordered the food, drove to her house.
So is what you're telling me that you did not volunteer?
No, I was going home and then canceled, and I said, okay, I'm on my way home anyway.
Oh, so step back. Did you order food
I
to send
did,
to your
and it
kids?
did not go through.
Okay, so you ordered food to get there, and this was lunchtime.
Correct.
And how did you find out that they canceled?
They sent me a notification to my phone.
To your phone?
Correct.
And what time was that?
1 o'clock, 1:15.
Had you already taken your lunch break?
No, ma'am. Most days I do not.
So you're in the store all day?
I am.
Well, then it would seem to me she had to find out that they canceled because you said that they sent the note to you.
We work right next to one another.
I know, she wasn't looking over at your phone.
Right.
She wasn't looking over at your phone. If you work right next to each other, common sense would dictate you said something, oh, whatever. Well, what expletive you used, they canceled my order.
Correct.
Could you take stuff to my kids for lunch?
I was going to do it. She offered.
I want you to tell me exactly what you said. You stay in the store all day. Now you thought about it and you thought about your defense and you did, in fact, according to you. Just remember something, because here's $20. Would you take the food, drop it off for the children? And in addition, voila, you said to her,
please do not go in my house. My dog is aggressive.
Mila Bazin claims her former employer, Sarah Adams, owes for injuries from a dog bite. Sarah is countersuing for harassment and slander.
I want you to tell me exactly what you said. You stay in the store all day.
Yes.
Okay.
But on
and
this
she was ready to leave.
No, so she was leaving for her lunch.
No.
I was going to leave and take the kids' food. Mila stated she wanted to go out of the store. She needed a break. So I told her, okay, if you want to clock out and take your lunch, if you will do this for me, I will give you an extra $20 for gas. She said, okay, no problem. So it was doing me a favor.
That's what I want you to say.
Yes.
She was doing me a favor because I wanted to get my 16-year-old lunch that she couldn't get for herself.
Correct.
Well, that she couldn't walk around the corner and get for herself, or open the freezer and put in a toaster, right?
Right.
Okay. So you had one of your subordinates go to your house and deliver the food. That's the bottom line. You had one of your subordinates, because you were in the store where you stay all the time, you had one of your subordinates, gave her $20, here's a little gas money for you, go pick up the food and bring it to the house. By the way, your 16-year-old doesn't get around?
No, she's not driving it.
She walks.
Correct, but I don't like my children to leave the house.
In the middle of the day, 1 o'clock?
Correct.
Okay.
Not in this world that we live in.
Okie dokie. Anyway, here's $20. Thank you. Did you say anything else to her?
No.
Has she ever been to your house before?
Not at that time, no.
Prior to giving her money and say, could you pick up the food and drop it off, she had not been to your house before.
Correct. I did state to her before she left.
Just a second. She had not been to your house before.
Correct.
Now you thought about it and you thought about your defense, and you did, in fact, according to you, just remember something, because here's $20. Would you take the food, drop it off for the children? And in addition, voila, you said to her,
please do not go in my house. My dog is aggressive.
And that's why
I did tell her to call me when she got there. I would call my daughter, have her go out and get the food. And Your Honor, I do have a video of my Ring doorbell of what happened.
I'm going to watch that.
Okay.
Because what happened was there was a lot of food, according to what I've read. It needed
3 children.
It needed 2 trips. Daughter took in some, she took the other, and she was bitten by your pit bull.
Correct, but I told her, do not go in my house.
And she was bitten by your pit bull.
Yes, in my home.
She wasn't trespassing in your house, madam. She wasn't burglarizing your house. She was bitten by your pit bull. That's
right,
what the case is about.
She was told not to go into my house.
If I believe you.
I have evidence.
I'm going to look at it. Okay. If I believe you, whether I believe you or not, she was bitten in your house by your dog. How old is your pit bull?
7 years old.
Where did you get her?
From the pound.
So you went to get food. You took your car and you went to get food.
And you picked up how many bags of food for the 3 children?
There's at least, I think, 2 bags, or 1 big bag, and then 2 drinks. 3 drinks in total. I had to carry 1 drink back in behind April. I should have waited in the car, but
Now, why should you have waited in the car?
because
Why?
now that I've bitten, I say that.
Well, what would have made you think that you should be waiting in the car?
No reason.
Did Miss Adams say to you when you left,
No, Your Honor.
text me when you get there, my daughter will come out?
Yes, to make it easier for me, but not because she told me she had a killer dog.
Did she tell you she had any dog?
No, I knew of one little dog, her little Mookie, her baby Chihuahua dog.
Your Honor, I bring a dog with me to work every day.
That you
I pick
just
him up.
got while I was
Just a
working
second.
there.
Just a second. Don't interrupt. She said she knew of one little dog, a Pekingese. That's all you knew about.
I knew of her Chihuahua at the time. The Pekingese came later. She inherited her dad's dog, but all I knew of was her little Mookie Chihuahua. I also have a Chihuahua. I thought we both had Chihuahuas. I would not go to anyone's house if they had a killer pit bull. Pit bulls, period.
Okay, you picked up the food, you got to the house, what did you do?
April came out to the car, grabbed what she could. I had the remainder drink. I got up and followed Miss April inside the house. Once we got to the door.
Is April the 16-year-old?
Yes.
That's you.
Mm-hmm. Once she stepped inside, I stepped in behind her. She turned around to grab it, and the dog was right there.
Step up.
Bit my leg.
Okay. April, do you have friends?
Yeah.
Do they drive?
No.
None of them?
No.
And do you live in a rural area, or are there stores there?
There's some stores down
What
2
kind?
streets.
Oh, yeah, what kind of stores?
A grocery store.
Yeah. So if you wanted to and you were hungry, you would have gone to the grocery store and gotten something for lunch.
Mm-hmm.
Is not an answer.
Yes.
So on that day, let me make sure what day we're talking about here. July 18th. On July 18th, you and your siblings were home for the day?
Yes.
Yeah. Tell me about the conversation you had with your mother about ordering lunch.
My siblings were hungry and wanted something new, so I asked my mother.
You called your mother at work?
Yes, I called my mother at work to ask if she can order some food.
What time did you call your mother?
It was around 1.
And that's all you said to her? And what did your mother say?
She said yeah.
She said yes, but she must have also said, what do they want? I mean, they didn't want to go to the grocery store, so she said, what do you want?
She said, I can order McDonald's, and I said, that's fine.
She said, I can order McDonald's, and?
And I said, that's great, that's okay, thank you for doing that.
Okay. Now, she called you later to tell you that they had canceled the order.
Yes.
Hmm?
Yes.
Yes. And what did she say when she said they canceled the order?
She said that Milo was coming over to drop off the food, and she already told her about...
No, don't make things up as we're going. Be very careful when you talk to me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
She said Mila is on her way over with the food.
Yes.
Now, Mila came over, she pulled her car up in front of your house.
Yeah.
And did you see her pull the car up in front of the house?
Yes.
Okay, did you come outside?
Yes.
All right. Came outside. Did she get out of the car? We're going to go step by step. She got out of the car?
No.
She stayed in the car?
Yes.
And you took a bag?
I took all I could, 2 bags and a drink.
Okay, but that wasn't all the food there was?
Yes. I told her I would come back for the rest.
Did she say that to
No,
you?
Your Honor.
I didn't hear you say to her when she turned around, stay out there. I didn't hear you say that to her. Do you understand? I didn't hear you, and I heard everything. Say that to her. She had 1 drink that she was going to give you, and she actually leaned over to give it to you.
Mila Bazin is accusing her former employer, Sarah Adams, of refusing to pay for injuries caused by her pit bull. Sarah claims Mila already agreed to a $300 settlement.
Now, she got out of the car?
No.
She stayed in the car?
Yes.
And you took a bag?
I took all I could, 2 bags and a drink.
Okay, but that wasn't all the food there was?
Yes. I told her I would come back for the rest.
Did she say that to
No,
you?
Your Honor. I was just nice and got out of the car and followed her.
Yeah, you didn't have that much of a discussion. It doesn't make sense that you had that much. So there was a drink left?
Yes.
So she was walking in following you with the 1 drink?
Mm-hmm.
No.
She didn't follow you into the house with the 1 drink?
And not until later.
What do you mean not until later? What happened in between the fact that you grabbed the food and 2 drinks, there was a drink left,
Now she's out of the car.
I didn't realize she was out of the car. I thought she would stay under the car. So I'm walking over to the house to open the door.
Okay. Now, I want you to point to some place in this room where the car was and where your front door was. Make believe I'm the car. Point to some place in this room. If it has to be more, you can say it's twice that distance. Twice the distance from the front and the back of the courtroom, or half the distance, or it's the same distance. How far is it from the car to your house?
The car was right here, and our
No,
door...
I'm the car.
Yeah.
And how far away is front door?
About right here, not that far away.
Where?
Where those...
So maybe 20 feet.
Yes.
Now I'm going to look at your video.
Got it?
Give me a towel.
I'm so sorry.
Give me a towel, hurry.
I didn't hear you say to her when she turned around, stay out there. I didn't hear you say that to her. Do you understand? I didn't hear you, and I heard everything. Say that to her. She had one drink that she was going to give you, and she actually leaned over to give it to you as you were in the door. I didn't hear you say anything to her. Stay outside, don't come near here. That's a long walk. I didn't hear you. Is that because you didn't say it?
No, before the video, when I went to get, she was inside
Oh,
the
we're
car.
going to hear it again. We're going to go right from the beginning. I heard you speak to your brothers, open the door, food's here. I heard that. I didn't hear anything else. I may have missed it. We're going to play it again. You turn around, you saw her walking in after you.
I'm so sorry.
Okay. Anyway, Miss Bazin, as a result of this dog bite, according to you, you had some serious medical issues. It became infected, couldn't work for a period of time. Do you have any of the medical records?
Yes.
I'd like to take a look at them.
I have them, the bill and the records. You want just the records?
Yeah, both.
Color coordinated by paper clips.
Does the job that you had give you health insurance?
So I have access with Arizona, and they pay up a percentage of it, but not everything.
Do you have what is left over that is your
So they wouldn't give me until the end of the year, I guess, but that's what they billed me, and they keep calling me every day saying I have.
Your Honor, I have a text message from Mila saying that she had unlimited health insurance
what
and
I
they can
thought
bill
I-
her for whatever she wants.
That's
I would like
before
to
I knew I
present
was
that
going
for you.
into surgery.
Let's try not to talk to each other.
Also, Mila went to the hospital 4 times, and I have records of all of that and what they did each time per her text messages.
Yeah.
And I have pictures of the bite when it happened if you'd like to see that as well.
She has it. You don't have to prove her case. I'm sure you have pictures.
Yes.
Yes, I'm sure. How long were you on antibiotics?
For at least almost like 2 months off and on. I had to go back multiple times and have it aspirated.
Yeah, I see. Yeah, got infected. Do you rent or own your own home, Miss Adams?
I rent it.
You have renter's insurance?
I do.
Did the renter's insurance that you have, is the company aware of the fact that you had a pit bull?
Yes, and it is extremely hard to find a place to rent with a pit bull.
No, I didn't ask you that. I asked you whether your insurance, your renter's insurance, had a provision that excluded the insurance from a pit bull bite.
I do not recall, no.
What state do you live in?
Arizona.
What's the name of the company?
It's through our insurance on the car. I'm not 100%.
Did you notify them of this dog bite?
No, I did not.
Why not?
Because she even said it was her fault.
It wasn't her fault. It was your fault. You had the dangerous animal.
How is it my fault?
Just a
I
second.
told her not to go in my house.
Don't ask me any questions, madam, and I'm going to tell you something. Based upon that video, there's no indication that you told her, don't go into my house.
I told her at work.
Listen to me. Based upon what I saw, if you knew that you had a dog that was territorial and she shouldn't go into the house, then you, when you speak to your daughter who is too lazy to go to the grocery store, say to her, I have one of my employees that I'm sending with your food, which is exactly what happened. You would have said to her, make sure that you take the stuff from the car. And she wouldn't have, unless she's an idiot, she wouldn't have, when she saw the plaintiff coming up with the extra drinks, she would have said, do me a favor, just stay out here, put them down on this shelf where I put the other drinks. Don't walk into the house. She said nothing. She walked into the house and, in effect, held the door open so that she could deliver the other 1 or 2 drinks for your children. That's what happened.
To be Christian Sanchez is suing his former employer, Juan Vasquez, for unpaid work and defamation of character.
Court come to order. All rise.
Be seated, please.
Hello, Judge. Case number 2007, Sanchez versus Vasquez.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. Sanchez, how old are you, sir?
I'm 26 years old.
And what is your educational background?
I have a bachelor's degree in film that I got from Full Sail University. I'm currently...
Slowly.
I'm sorry.
You have a bachelor's degree from?
Full Sail University.
Where is that?
Orlando, Florida.
Orlando, Florida. That I can hear. You have to understand, when you're dealing with someone of my age, you have to sort of factor that into your speech. People who are 26 may be able to follow you. I'm senior. I need people to speak slowly so that I can follow them.
I got you.
So you got a bachelor's degree from a university in Florida and graduated when?
I graduated in 2018.
And from there, what kind of work did you do?
From there, I jumped around a little bit. I did
Okay,
work...
you jumped around. Did your family live in Florida?
No, ma'am.
Where do they live?
They live in Beaumont, Texas.
Did you live with them at all in Beaumont?
No, ma'am.
After college?
Not until the pandemic.
Okay. Well, the pandemic was in 2020.
Yes.
So you graduated in June of 2018, and then the pandemic started on or about March of 2020.
Yes, ma'am.
And in March of 2020, you went home to your parents' house.
Yes.
And you stayed there until when?
I'm still currently there. I started going back to school, actually.
When did you start going back to school?
My first classes were in December of last year.
In Texas?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, great. So you actually had a year and a half out of school when you were hopping around.
Yes, ma'am.
So I want you to tell me who you worked for in that year and a half.
I was an intern on a documentary.
Okay, and when was that?
That was about a few months after I graduated.
So maybe September, October?
Yeah, probably around there. I did a few independent films.
Okay, and what kind of work did you do for them?
Just kind of depended what they needed. It was mostly
Like a
PA
PA?
stuff. Yeah.
Like a PA. And for that work, were you paid as a PA?
Yes, ma'am.
And how much were you paid as a PA?
They paid me $75 a day.
Pay you in cash?
They paid me in cash.
Okay, so you did those couple of little projects, and then what?
I was also waiting tables at the time.
Okay, well, you got to eat.
Right. After the pandemic hit, my lease was up. I moved back home, decided I would go back to school to get a tech job. I'm going for cybersecurity right now. I had heard through a family friend.
Okay, let's stop there. This case is, I don't think so difficult, but relatively interesting for me because we don't get them all the time. Mr. Vasquez, you were making a movie.
Yes, Your Honor.
Is this the first movie you ever made?
No, Your Honor.
How many movies have you made?
This was film number 5 for me. Written, directed, produced.
Is it a fiction piece or a documentary?
It's actually based on a true story.
So it's a docudrama?
Correct, yes.
See that? Are you impressed with that? There you go, a docudrama. How long a film?
90 to 100 minutes. We're still in post, still editing. So
Keep your voice up. Approximately how long?
100 minutes.
What was your budget?
It's still in
About what was your budget? Then you're going to tell me where you got the financing.
roughly 120,000.
Where did you get the money from?
A lot of it was my money and other producers.
How much did you put in?
Over 80,000.
And you've got other people in for about 40.
Yeah.
Did you make money on your other films?
I have, yes, in the past.
Okay, this is what the case is about. Mr. Sanchez says that he was hired by your company, and he was hired by your company to work on this last film that you were doing, and it was a paying job. And at the end of the period, he was not paid. And in addition, he says that when he complained about not being paid, you put out there on social media that you weren't paying him because he was on drugs. Is that what the case is basically about?
Basically. It wasn't on social media. It was through text messages. He accused me of it, but...
Text messages?
Yes.
Well, that to me is almost social media. If it doesn't come to me by the U.S. Postal Service, I call it social media. I know. Okay. Did you answer an ad for this job?
No, I heard about it through a family friend.
And when did you meet Mr. Vasquez for the first time?
We didn't actually meet face-to-face until about Saturday, July 10th, 2021.
Did you communicate via text messages or
Yes, ma'am.
emails? But when was the first either text message or email?
The first text message was on Monday, the 28th, 2021 of June.
6/28, 2021. May I see that, please?
Of course. And this one, too. Sorry.
Okay. Anything else? Okay. So you first met by email. You say you have one spot available for him as an internship, and then practically immediately thereafter, you say somebody's family is sick in the crew. You have a spot for him as an assistant director.
So, Your Honor.
I'm reading this. Well, you have to
Yeah.
tell me what that means. I need a first AD. Someone's family is sick and they can't do it.
Correct.
So what is an AD?
He's basically going to assist me as a director, everything from...
Assistant to the director.
Correct.
Okay. I need a first AD. Someone's family is sick. So that's different from an internship.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, I mean, we do have internships where people don't get paid, and then you have internships where they do get paid. Most people now pay their interns. Okay. And when you met, because clearly the last email that I just read suggests that you were approaching the door and you're 2 minutes away, and then you met the defendant. Tell me about that conversation.
Claims filmmaker Juan Vasquez owes him for unpaid work. One says Christian was an unpaid intern.
Okay, and when you met, because clearly the last email that I just read suggests that you were approaching the door and you're 2 minutes away, and then you met the defendant. Tell me about that conversation.
So we met, we sat down. I kind of told him a little bit about my background, like I told you before. He kind of went over like what he was expecting me to do.
Just a second. I want you to tell me what he told you that he wanted you to do.
Managing the set, creating schedules, calling extras, making sure that they were there on time.
Is that what you told him?
Yes, basically assisting me whatever I needed.
Okay, that sounds like more than a PA.
We didn't ask for PAs. We didn't, there was no intention for PAs.
But what you outlined was clearly more. What did you agree to pay him?
Never agreed to pay him anything. So
Well, how could you do that?
he was an intern. He was presented to me as an intern.
No, not after this text message. He said he was looking for an internship, and you said to him, I have a better role for you. I need a first AD. Someone's family is sick. Whose family was sick? The name of the person.
I don't recall.
Okay. When you did a budget, did you have a budget for a first AD?
No, we didn't.
Careful. Did you have a budget for a first AD?
No, not that I remember. I usually don't use a first AD. So the terminology.
No. Listen, you know who produces this show? You want to be careful with what you say around people, who are buying your product.
Sure.
Right? Because you're going to be presenting them with budgets, eventually, hopefully for you. There's no question that if I got this text from you, Mr. Vasquez, I would say, oh my God, I'm going to get a different job, a better role, because he says I have a much better thing. Somebody who was supposed to do it got sick, they can't do it. That's a much different thing from what you describe as bringing me iced tea and setting up the coffee. That's a different role. What did he tell you he was going to pay you, sir?
He told me, verbally, he told me that...
Look, careful when you talk to me. At that meeting, that day, what did he tell you he was going to pay you?
$150 per day for 14 days.
How many days did you actually work on the set?
On the set, I worked 14 days.
It's a lie.
I got COVID on the last 2 days, and he asked me to work from home. And I still scheduled and did all that stuff.
I never asked him to work from home.
You got COVID the last 2 days, so you were actually there 12 days.
Physically there, but I was still working for him.
Who knows? How do I know that?
I have text.
I would like to see the work that you did from home on day 13 and 14.
1,800 for 12 days, not including.
Okay.
On those specific days, I have it on my phone. Could I pull it up?
No, I want to see what you did. If you did work, you sent emails out, you sent scheduling out, and you would probably have to have a conversation with your boss and say, I have COVID, but I'll do whatever I could do from home.
I have all of that.
I'd like to see it.
Yes, ma'am.
Your Honor, if I may interject.
Yeah.
So he shows up to the set sick with COVID, gets everybody sick. I had to call the next day of filming because of that.
Are you talking about after he was there for 12 days?
Yes, I'm talking about that particular part, but
I'm talking about he was there for 12 days. He didn't have COVID for 12 days.
we don't know that.
Well, who knows that? I don't know if you have COVID.
We just got tested, Your Honor.
Who knows if you have COVID? Who knows if I have COVID? All I know is I came to work today. I expect to be paid. I wouldn't come to work if I was sick and laying in bed and feeling nauseous and...
Your Honor, if you had a remote position, that'd be different. He didn't have a remote position.
I'm not talking about his 2 days. He was there 12
No,
days.
he did it throughout the course of the project. He was never on time.
I don't care if he was never on time. If he's never on time, sir, then you fire him.
There was days he was not on set.
Listen to me.
Okay.
If he's never on time, then you tell him don't come back after the second day. But if you let him come for 12 days and do whatever he does, I mean, you know, Mr. Vasquez, I'm going to make this as painless for you as possible. There are some employees that I have had over the years that were terrific. Some not so terrific, some terrible. The terrible ones who were really terrible, who I would have liked to have fired, period, I couldn't do it because of human resources.
Sure.
They have a whole protocol, volumes, like an Encyclopedia Britannica, what you have to go through to fire somebody who's not doing their job.
Right.
But you have to pay him until you can fire him. If you have him come to work, even if he's doing a terrible job, you still have to pay him. Now, if he goes home because he's sick and you're not giving him sick leave and you don't agree for him to work remotely, that's on him. Does that sound fair to you?
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm so glad. Unless, of course, you agree to have him work remotely, then you have to pay him for 14 days.
Right.
It starts right there, Your Honor, and then the next 2 days follow it.
JV, that's you?
Yes, ma'am.
JV, that's you. So you did, in fact, confer with him from home. Tell him to order food, to picking it up. I don't care if he worked for you for a half hour. He's not your friend. The thing that I find most troubling here, actually, for the both of you, is he says that you told him not to tell the rest of the crew that he had COVID because they would freak out.
Correct.
And he didn't tell the rest of the crew
As far
that
as
he
I
had
know.
COVID. Well, you told him not to. And he said, okay. Well, you have to know, as a good citizen, that's not the right thing to do. You do understand that.
And, you know, by not having him on the set, we thought that was proper protocol.
No, you're supposed to notify people who you came into close contact with. You know, I remember they had this whole contact tracing. I know people call all the time
the
and say, you
reality
know,
is, Your
we
Honor,
were out
everybody
together
that was
a month
on
ago.
the set.
What?
The reality is, everybody that was on the set, we did discuss the fact that he had COVID, so people knew that.
I don't care whether people knew that. It says here, I won't say anything to the rest of the crew, like you said.
Yeah, because
I
I didn't want
understand
to
that you
create
don't want everyone to freak out. I just find that troubling. In any event,
it's just
he
like
clearly,
yelling bomb in an airport. You know, that would have created a bigger hysteria.
Well, that's what COVID is. COVID is a bomb in an airport.
We conveyed to everybody on the set what was going on. The reality is, this man was presented as an intern, never said paid internship. Once he got on the set, he tried to strong arm us, then demanded the money once he had all the information on the set. We didn't hire him. We didn't post a job for him. We made a job for him because a producer called me up. This is when nepotism goes bad. This kid couldn't even order pizza, Your Honor. He spent $300 at Domino's. Who spends $300 at Domino's?
Mr. Vasquez, then you fire him.
I should have
Do you
fired him.
understand?
I should have fired him.
Then your recourse is to fire him. And you're a little company that doesn't have a HR department. Say, you know what? What's your first name?
Christian.
Christian, you're a nice guy, but it's not working out here. I'm going to pay you for 3 days because that's what you were here. Don't come back. I'm going to get somebody else.
And we should have did that, Your Honor.
But that's what you should have done.
Yes.
But that's not what you did. You continued to use whatever limited services he provided, even when he was home with COVID.
Yes.
Even when he went home with COVID, you continued to ask him to do things for your company and for the film, and that you can't do without compensating him.
Sanchez has accused his former employer, Juan Vasquez, of not paying him for 14 days of work. Juan claims Christian was incompetent and never a paid employee.
Okay, even when he went home with COVID, you continued to ask him to do things for your company and for the film, and that you can't do without compensating him. You can't. Okay, so you owe him $2,100 because I assume you paid him nothing. Now, let's get to the second part of your claim, which is defamation. That I'd like to see. I mean, if you're going to be a producer, if you're going to make films, sir, you have to understand. Say you're not working out, you're fired. Something that I would love to be able to say a lot.
I agree.
Not
I
working
should have
out,
fired
you're
him right away.
without
Never-
risking my house and my car and my dog.
I was taking him on as a basically.
I don't care what you were thinking.
producer
That's
called
not what
me,
you said.
Asked me to take him on. That's why I took him on.
He actually called me and told me how
Just
good
a
of a
second.
job I was doing.
It doesn't require an answer. Okay.
And I can show the messages how he came to be on the set. He was presented.
Just a second. I don't care how he was presented to you. If your Aunt Tilly said, do me a favor, this is my godson.
It was his Aunt Tilly.
He hasn't been able to get a job since he graduated from college.
He hasn't been able
He's
to get a
home.
job from college.
He's home in the attic of his parents' house playing the
Lives with his
guitar.
parents.
We want him to have a job. It's irrelevant. You gave him a job. And if he didn't work out, say, what was the name of that woman from that show that says you're fired or something? Well, anyway, you say you're fired. That's easy. Do we remember the name of that woman from England who had a show where she said, you're out, get out? I don't know. She was terrific. Let me see.
The weakest link.
Weakest link. That was the lady. Perfect. Thank you.
And that's a direct text message to him that I never posted on social media.
Oh.
It was actually a group text.
Just a second. So, Mr. Vasquez, in here, you say to him, this is the second part of his case, which is for defamation. And that's okay. He didn't defame you.
Okay.
Sir, he said they're taking you out of the credits, but you were never promised credits.
In the contract, it says I am.
Let me see where in the contract it said you'd be in the credits. And I didn't even know there was a contract. I thought
He's
you had
also done this before.
Shh.
Oh, wait.
Shh. Shh. It says you employed him as an actor.
Your Honor, I'm signing actor agreements every day. He put that in front of me to sign. Why would I sign an actor agreement for a first AD?
Just a second. Sir, is this the agreement he put in front of you? Or did you?
I sign actor agreements every day on the.
You're a business guy.
Yeah.
I'm a business lady.
That looked like an
I
actor
don't
agreement.
sign
That's why I signed it.
actor agreement. That's what it says.
Yeah. He's not an actor.
Don't sign it. It says you agreed to pay him $150 a day for 4 days of shooting.
14.
14 days of shooting. And that he will be responsible for paying all the taxes on it. So he was going to be paid.
I didn't write that out, Your Honor.
Kevin, would you show this to him, please, and see if he can identify that as his signature? I'm going to check here to see if it's his signature. It looks like his signature to me. Mr. Vasquez, it appears to be the same signature that you used to sign the answer.
Yes, Your Honor.
So that's your signature?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. And this says, actor shall receive a credit for acting in the film. Well, that's ridiculous. You didn't act in the film, right?
No, ma'am.
Well, we're going to strike that out because you can't perform that because you didn't act in the movie. Do you understand?
I understand, ma'am.
Okay, very good. And it's clear that whatever this says, based upon this, if you delete one part of a contract, let me see if I remember, if part of a contract, Sarah, is impossible to perform,
Then it's not fully integrated.
and one party acts on that contract, and you can retain part of the contract because of services that were rendered pursuant to the contract, you can eliminate one part.
Yes.
So I can eliminate the actor part of getting credit. So you're not getting credit on this. You're entitled to the $150 a day. As far as the defamation is concerned, sir, what he said in here was clear. He said he was told by someone else, which is very possible. And the only thing that you can produce for me today is this fellow who said you tried to put together a
little bit of a drug transaction. Are you?
No.
Well, then you're irrelevant. You can produce, because if he says, told me, then he's not saying you did this. He put it in a text to you that
He
this
said
is
it
what
in
he was told.
retaliation whenever I served him the night before. The very next morning, he sent me that text message.
I don't care. I don't care. He's not a great businessman. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $2,100. Thank you very much. We're finished.
This court is adjourned.
I thought she was very fair. I'm really, really happy with how the judgment came out.
He was an intern. Interns aren't paid. It never said paid internship.
He tried to avoid signing a contract at first.
The reality is, with a budget, we would love to pay the kid, but he cost us more money than he was actually worth.
He lies constantly. Nothing's ever his fault. He always makes up a new scenario in which he's the victim.
He couldn't even order pizza. I mean, who spends $300 at Domino's?
Handed me the actor's agreement, told me to sign it.
No more nepotism. If I don't know him, I've embedded him. I don't want them on the project.
A little bit weird, but it had everything.
And this kid is going to go be a cybersecurity guy.
Always save your receipts, dude. Always just keep any sort of communications, even if it's a phone call, send a text or an email that just recaps what you said.
I was so happy to vent for a moment on the current inability to fire inept people and to fire people who aren't doing their job, which has been getting worse over the last quarter of century. I actually believe that HR is a vital service for people who are unjustly, based on something other than their performance, treated badly by an employer. Mm-hmm. And harassment in the workplace, I think, is important. Anyway, I got that out of my system. The contract.
Yeah, the contract. I think it was unenforceable to begin because I think the form was clearly erroneous. It wasn't the proper form. He wasn't an actor. Both of them knew he wasn't an actor. Right. However, it was signed by both parties, and there was substantial performance on behalf of the plaintiff by showing up to work every day, performing his duties under the contract. So as soon as he substantially performed the contract, the defendant can't then claim it's unenforceable.
First of all, because he's not an actor.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah, thank you.
No problem.
Case number 2061, Laura versus Burke. All parties, please step forward.
Michael Lara is suing car seller Donald Burke for a vintage car title.
Mr. Lara.
Yes, Your Honor.
You had a truck.
Yes.
And that truck was a 2007.
Yes, Your Honor.
Nissan Frontier.
Correct.
When did you purchase it?
I purchased it in 2019.
From whom?
From a private owner. I don't have his name, but I purchased it over on an auto app.
So you found it online?
Yeah.
So it's still online. How much did you pay for the car in 2019?
In 2010, I paid, 19, I paid $10,000.
I don't believe that. Let's try it one more time, Mr. Lara. Exactly how much did you pay for the car in 2019?
$10,000, Your Honor.
Show me a bill of sale.
I don't have that bill of sale from back then.
Okay.
I have only the title that I had.
Okay. Let's assume for the moment that that's almost accurate because the truck is now worth
somewhere between $8,000 and $9,000.
So that would be a depreciation. So now it's worth $8,000.
Okay.
You decided to sell it.
Correct. To trade it.
And you put an ad online to sell it?
Yes, I did.
You, Mr. Burke, had a 1947 classic Chrysler sedan.
Yes.
When did you get that?
Beginning of the year.
Beginning of
22.
And where did you get it from?
A car dealer had it for sale.
Car dealer where?
Montclair, California.
You remember the name of the car dealer?
No, ma'am, I don't.
But it was the beginning of 2022.
Yes.
And was it an ad online?
No, I was driving by and saw the car. I kind of liked the way it looked.
How much did you pay for it?
$12,500.
Do you have a bill of sale?
No.
That was just this year. Why don't you have a bill of sale?
I have the registration and title.
I don't need the registration and title. I need a bill of sale.
I don't have one.
Difference when you buy it from a private party, but if you buy, do you have, it was the beginning of January. How did you pay for the car?
Cash.
Cash. Do you have a withdrawal from your bank of $12,500 to show me?
No, I don't.
Well, how do you expect me to decide this case? You have a claim, you have a counterclaim. Nobody has any proof. How do you expect me to decide? Each of you is suing the other for $10,000 without any proof of anything. How do you expect me to decide that?
Correct, Your Honor.
You got it?
Yeah, I got it.
You got it?
Yes.
Michael Lara claims car seller Donald Burke owes him the title to a vintage car. Donald is countersuing, claiming Michael broke their agreement.
Okay. Do you have a car now?
Yes, I have a 2001 GMC truck.
No. You have his car?
Oh, yes, I have his car, yes.
You
Your Honor.
have his car?
Yes.
And you have his truck?
Yes.
What do you want me to do?
I wasn't the one that started this.
Okay, Your Honor.
He doesn't have the title.
Well, he never produced the money that he was supposed to produce.
I have his title to his vehicle. He signed it over to me, and he gave me the keys as well.
Okay. I didn't ask you anything. Well, you have the title, you have the keys, you have the truck.
Correct, Your Honor.
My question to you is, you have the title to his car. He paid, let's assume he's correct, that he paid $12,500 for the car in the beginning of 2022. That car, which is a classic car, is now for sale, because I looked it up, I don't remember the numbers, for?
Between $18,000 and $60,000 on the high end of what I've seen.
Okay, so it's worth considerably more than what you paid for it. Roughly $10,000 more than what you paid for it, right?
That's correct, Your Honor.
You don't know him, do you?
No, I don't, Your Honor.
There would be no reason why he would make you a gift. Is that right?
That's correct.
And you have the title for that car.
Yes.
Because you say, according to you, that he didn't fulfill his promise,
Correct.
his contract, to pay you an additional amount for it. Now, you say he agreed to pay you an additional $10,000 for it.
Yes.
I don't know that because none of it's in writing. Anybody have any proof of that?
No, Your Honor.
No. Good. And you want your car back.
I would just.
You want your car. Well, I'm not giving you $10,000. I want you to just understand that.
Yes.
Because you have no proof here of anything that satisfies me. So I'm asking you, you want nothing or do you want your car back?
I want your $10,000.
I'd rather have my car back than nothing.
You'd rather than have your car back. And
I'm sorry.
you have the car.
Yes, I do, Your Honor.
And you put in some money in the truck.
Yes, the catalytic converters were bad.
How much money did you put into the truck?
$2,165.
Okay. And you have proof of that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Where?
Can I help him?
I don't need you for anything.
Yeah. And it still needs another $2,165 for the other side.
And you have the title to the car, is that right?
Yes.
Now, do you want nothing or do you want your truck back, even though he added money to it? Do you want nothing or do you want your truck back? That's my question to you. You want nothing or you want your truck back?
My truck.
Great. And you want your car back?
Yes.
Perfect. And both of you have agreed, because there was clearly some misunderstanding between the two of you, giving you the total benefit of the doubt, sir, that there was additional money to be forthcoming. I'm speaking. Understand this. Neither one of you are leaving here with a penny. Do you understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you understand?
No, I don't. I put
very
$2,000 into his truck.
Very easy. Very easy, sir. You're getting back a car that you say is worth, she says, is worth $20,000.
Your Honor. Sorry.
It's not going to work for you. You're going to each end up with your own cars back. Since there was clearly a misunderstanding about the nature of the contract, what I'm telling you is I'm going to prepare an order that within 5 days of today's date, you are to exchange cars. Figure out where you want to do that, a mutually convenient place. That's the order of the court. Goodbye.
Court is adjourned.
Not even the $2,000 I put into his truck?
Goodbye.
This way, sir.
You can sell your 47 for a lot more money.
I didn't bring us here. He brought us here.
I liked this car. He liked my truck. When I got there, we did the exchange. He signed the titles. He gave me the keys to the vehicle.
Well, he gave me a truck that needed a $4,000 repair, and he didn't mention that when he gave it to me. And my car, was nothing wrong with my car.
I have always maintained my vehicle. I have records of it and everything.
I'll just keep my car.
No more business deals.
So I really agree with you that there was no meeting of the minds, because the defendant thought that the plaintiff was going to pay him an additional $10,000 for the 1947 Chrysler, and no one had any proof of anything. So it's really hard to come to court with zero proof on either side. So I think your ruling to leave them how they were found prior to any what they believe to be a contract was the right decision because
I'm so glad you felt that way.
well, I mean, I was thinking to myself, looking over the papers, what's she going to do with this one? You know, it's hard because with no proof and a he said, she said verbal agreements with tangible items like vehicles, I probably would have done the same thing. I don't know what to make of this. I have nothing to look at, nothing to rely on.
And it was so interesting because they both bought these cars recently. Neither one of them had bill of sale, said he paid cash, $12,500, show me where you withdrew the money from a bank. The whole thing was suspicious to me. So to me, the easiest thing to do was leave the parties
as you found them.
As you found them. They had no contract because there was no meeting of the minds as to what the particulars were of the contract. You get your truck back in a little better shape. You get your car back probably in a little better shape and
be on your way.
Edmund Hay is suing videographer Ramsey Hill for breach of contract.
Court come to order. All rise.
Have a seat, please.
Hello, Judge. Case 2057, Hay versus Hill.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. Hay, you're a musician.
I am a songwriter and I sing song. I don't play the instrument, Your Honor.
That's music.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Hill, you make music videos.
Yes, I have a video production company.
For how long, sir?
Since 2006.
Do you have employees?
No.
Just you?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you have a place of business?
Yes, I work at my home.
So your place of business
is the residence.
Do you have a studio in the residence?
No, we do not.
Where do you record this music?
Most of the time we do it on location, but I haven't done a music video in almost 10 years.
When you say you have a video business, you haven't done music videos.
Right, yeah.
You have done what kind of videos?
Well, we've done a small film. We have a 3D full-length original animation that we do. We also have a network that we show podcasts on. We have a health and fitness show, and we was working on a reality TV show and an entertainment news show.
I still don't understand how you make a living. Working on, thinking about being in this business myself, that doesn't produce any income. How do you earn a regular income?
Oh, I have a regular 9-to-5 job.
Oh, okay, now that's where we go.
Yeah.
So your 9-to-5 job is what?
Right now I'm an insurance agent.
Do you advertise making videos?
Absolutely not. The only reason I did this was as a favor to a friend.
Well, you didn't do it for a favor because you were charging him.
No, the only reason I accepted to do the video was because a friend asked me to meet with him.
I understand that.
Yeah.
But you weren't doing him a favor because you were charging him.
No, I was doing the friend a favor. I wasn't doing him a favor.
No.
Right.
Mr. Hill, if somebody says, listen, I have a friend who wants to make a video. I know you've got a setup in your house where you could do that, or you do it on location. Would you like to be introduced to him? And you say, sure. That doesn't mean you're doing him a favor. So you haven't made a music video in 10 years. You're an insurance agent. And you met with Mr. Hay on what date?
I'm not really sure.
On what date, Mr. Hay?
We met sometime in early April, late March.
Did you have a written contract?
Yes, ma'am.
And that was to make certain videos?
Yes.
I'd like to see the written contract, please. This lawsuit seeks a refund of the money that you gave to him because the entire contract was not fulfilled. That's what the case is about.
That is correct.
Okay, so there is a full and complete agreement. Was this the only agreement there was in writing?
That's the one for that one.
That's the one for what?
For that particular item, there's another one here.
Well, that's what I wanted to know. There's one to produce 3 videos.
That is correct.
Okay. Is there another written contract?
He said this is not a contract.
Well, but I'm asking you, is there another written contract that you're relying on? Because he was supposed to make 3 videos, and the cost of the 3 videos was $1,500?
$3,000.
$3,000. And then there was an additional agreement
for the live performance, of which he demanded $1,500 from me.
Okay.
Okay,
And then it's-
that's
just
not
a second.
correct. That's not correct.
Just a second. So it is your claim that in addition to the $3,000, $1,500 of which you paid to him, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
There was a subsequent contract afterwards for an additional item. I'd like to see that.
For the live performance on
I
May
understand.
1st.
Okay. You wanted to do something live on one of his radio stations. Or...
Mr. Hill?
No, I'm going to read this.
Okay.
Okay. Let's deal with the easier one first. Did you receive the $1,500 for this contract?
Yes.
And that was for a live performance on one of your outlets.
Right.
And that was to take place on May 1st.
May 1st.
And did it, in fact, take place?
No.
Did it, in fact, take place?
Not at all.
Well, so then he gets his $1,500 back. That's one.
Thank you, Your Honor.
But I'm not asking you anything. There's nothing else that you have to tell me about that, right? You paid him $1,500.
Yes, ma'am.
You didn't do a live performance. You get your $1,500 back.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, with regard to the 3 videos, you've given him a total now of $3,000?
$1,500, Your Honor.
How much did you pay him on this?
For the videos?
Yes.
I gave him $500 up front to start off on that project. And then that's on the 21st. And then I gave him $1,000 by the 27th, I think, for the 3 videos.
So you gave him
$1,500.
So you gave him the 3 videos was supposed to be $3,000 and you gave him $1,500.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. How many videos were produced for you?
1.
Is it accurate that 1 video was produced for Mr. Hay?
Yes.
And it was done on a particular date?
Right.
And you gave him that video?
Yes.
On what date did you give him that video?
It was a week before the 31st.
Did you do any work on the other 2 videos?
No.
Okay. Each video was supposed to cost $1,000.
Yes.
Dollars. And you received 1 video.
Yes, ma'am.
And you paid him $1,500 so far as down payment on 3. So you have $1,500 that you believe is coming back to you from that amount of money, in addition to the $1,500 that I've already given you.
No, the $1,500 covered the first video. It wasn't a breakdown like he's trying to make it in the 3 videos. No, the $1,500 was the cost, was the full cost for the first video.
Does it say that in here?
Edmund Hay claims videographer Ramsey Hill breached their music video contract.
Kevin, would you please ask Mr. Hill to show me where in this contract, and I may have missed it, that $3,000 was to be paid for 3 videos.
Right.
But the first one cost half, cost $1,500. All I want you to do is to show me in that contract where it says that. If it says that, then Mr. Hay gets back the $1,500 from live music performance.
The music video production won $1,500.
Just a second. Can I see it, please? Yes, it does, Mr. Hay.
Yes,
that's exactly what it says. It says music video, the first production is $1,500.
Okay.
And you got 1 produced video, correct?
Correct, ma'am.
Okay, well,
So,
then you're absolutely right. What?
so the reason why I'm suing him for the extra $1,000, Your Honor, is for the live performance that he didn't perform. I had to hire 2 other persons.
That's not his problem. He didn't perform. He didn't do the live performance.
First of all,
and you're getting your money back. He's
sorry.
not giving you more money back.
No.
He's not giving you more money than you gave him. Do you understand? He's giving.
Your Honor, may I say this, please?
You could say whatever you want to say. He's not paying for you to do another live performance with other people. He didn't perform pursuant to the contract, and you're getting your money back because he didn't perform that contract. With regard to this contract, he performed pursuant to this contract. You get nothing. It's easy.
For the music, correct? For the videos, correct?
For the videos, he produced 1, and 1 was $1,500. That's what this contract says.
The contract is about making 3 videos, Your Honor.
That's all right. If you want to look at it, do you want to see it? Have we shown it to you?
No, I'm asking pertaining to what he says. He says pertaining to just 1 for the $1,500.
It says it's clear. Music video, #1 production, $1,500.
#1, which means there's 2 more need to be done.
Correct, but the first one was, just a second, the first one was $1,500. He could have very easily said, Mr. Hay, production #1, $1,000. Production #2.
He explained that like you just said to me, and he wrote that in words for that purpose.
This is what the court is bound by, sir. Not what he may have explained to you, because you cannot modify in the law a written contract by oral communications between the parties. It's in writing. If you wanted him to write production 1, $1,000, then you would have said, write production 1, that each video was $1,000.
Your Honor,
This is not an argument, sir.
I'm not
This is
arguing,
not an
Your
argument. Good, because that's what it says.
I'm not arguing.
Contract speaks for itself. On the initial contract, he has to give you a refund of $1,500. On this contract, he produced #1 video for which you paid him $1,500. That's what the contract calls for. We're done here. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
This
Thank
court
you,
is
Your Honor.
adjourned.
Well, it's a fair decision.
There is no breaching of my end on the contract.
It would never have been any money if he'd have kept things on course.
How did I breach the contract when I'm here getting the money for the contract?
I'm not working with anybody like that anymore.
You cannot have an oral modification of a written contract. So I think it's a good lesson for people signing written contracts that if you don't agree or you have a different understanding than something that's listed in the contract, don't let the other person just explain it away in the moment, because as we've seen, that doesn't hold up in court and your rights are going to be really limited to what's in that written agreement. So it's important.
People should.
Hello, xin chào các bạn. Hôm nay mình sẽ hướng dẫn các bạn tô màu bức tranh những chú mèo đang ăn kem này, ăn dưa hấu này. Hãy cùng tô với mình nhé. Bạn đừng xem hết video để xem thành quả của mình nhé. Tại sao mày đấy ngủ đấy? Hay thật đấy. Ừ?
Đầu thế ngủ sao? Có...
Chắc mà không phải ngủ à?
Ừ?
Nhức mà không phải ngủ à? Ôi em anh được thưởng bao nhiêu tiền?
Gì?
Anh được thưởng bao nhiêu tiền?
Sẽ thường bao tiền?
Sao em thấy anh mở được? Wow, vậy là chúng mình đã hoàn thiện xong bức tranh ngày hôm nay rồi đấy. Các bạn có thể thấy trên tay của mình đang cầm bức tranh những chú mèo đang ăn hoa quả này, rất là đáng yêu. Hãy cho mình biết ý kiến của các bạn về bức tranh này nha. Video của mình xin được kết thúc ở đây. Đừng quên nhấn like và follow kênh ủng hộ cho mình nhé. Bye bye, hẹn gặp lại các bạn.